Hey now, happy Monday and welcome to 580 Sports Talk. I'm Brendan Dorzinski. He's Dan Lucero. We're here with you for the next 3 hours. A great weekend for the Royals. We're going to recap the whole thing. We've got our annual 4th of July draft coming up today. No show tomorrow. It is the 4th of July after all. So, our annual draft, we do it every single year on the 3rd of July.
Y'all are lucky we showed up today, to be frank.
Yeah. This is not the most natural work day of all time. Going off day, work, off day, more work.
Most people, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people, they had the ability to not work today, made it happen so they didn't have to work today. But that's how much Brendan and I appreciate you. We are hustling. We are grinding 24/7, and we are here today to entertain you and take you into your day off.
And we are excited to be here with you. We're excited to do our 4th of July draft. This year's theme, America. Anything with the word America or American or Americas in it. That's the draft. We've got big lists. I got a whole note in my phone right here of American things. And we're just going to rifle through a bunch of them and see who can come up with the best roster of all things literally named America.
Now, you may be asking, songs, albums, artists, organizations? The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. The answer is yes to every one of those things. Yeah, I've got a draft board that's like 25 deep. I'm very psyched for this.
So we are going to get to that coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. It is Independence Day tomorrow. Vance saying happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July from Mark as well in the YouTube comments.
Right back at you guys.
Yeah, we're taking your YouTube comments. Channel's called Sports on 580 WIBW. Text line is open as well, 785-272-9429. We do have a bunch to get to from a busy weekend in the world of sports. This hour, Royals take the series from the Dodgers, including a blowout yesterday. They smoked them and then overcame the unpleasantness of the rain delay on Saturday to get a win in just an okay start from Daniel Lynch. Really good weekend for a bunch of guys individually. Michael Garcia went 9 for 12 this weekend. Had 8 singles of those 9 hits, but he got on base 9 times. Absolutely fantastic. We're going to get to all that coming up here in just a moment. We'd love to get your thoughts on how well the Royals played this weekend overall, too. We've also got our weekend recap, the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up. Plus, Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated is going to join us at the bottom of the hour for our weekly chat about all things NFL on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. As I mentioned, we've got the America draft. We've got What Is Wrong With You Today, brought to you by Top City Mental Supply. First What Is Wrong With You of the month of July. And to celebrate the holiday the best way we know how, we've got another round of Major League Baseball. Is it good? Yes, we're bringing it back. Start of July, it's Is It Good time. A bunch of teams that I think are going to be asking themselves this question a lot over the next 28 days.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of are we good going around, or can we be good?
And maybe, possibly, hopefully we can be good. We'll preview tonight's Royals-Twins series opener. And a couple news and notes pieces from Kansas State over the weekend, K-State hoops. There have been some rumors that maybe there was a commitment to K-State. And Jerome Tang even put out the cat signal. Said we were getting dudes. Then there were some rumors. Maybe not. Maybe someone jumped the gun. But now things are swinging back in K-State's favor if you're reading the rumor mill. So we'll get to all that. We'll break it all down, make it make sense for you coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Again, your texts are welcome, 785-272-9429. And on YouTube, just go to youtube.com, search Sports on 580. You'll find our channel easiest that way. Click on the channel, come watch our live video stream, hop into the comment section and hang out with us until 6 o'clock today. You got to go see one of those Royals wins this weekend, the rain delay win on Saturday. And as much as that was probably unpleasant to be there in the wetness, if you were or a Royals fan, that was a really dang good weekend for the Royals. I know this isn't quite the big final boss Dodgers team they've been in the last couple of years, but they're still good. They've still got a good pitching staff, a good order 1 through 9, mostly speaking. And the Royals, look, yesterday they dominated them. Saturday, hard battle to get that win as well. I kept thinking the Dodgers are going to come back. They're going to finish this off. They're going to make it back. And they just never did. The Royals kept them at arm length for the majority of that contest. And you got back-to-back Saturday and Sunday excellent pitching efforts. Lynch was just okay, but he gets a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt, I think, because he's pitched really well as of late. And Brady Singer has been almost unhittable in his last 2 outings. 8 hits allowed in his last 13 innings. That's pretty incredible work for him. And credit where it's due, because I've been asking for consistency, and that's now 2 times in a row he's been great.
To your first point, and this might be a broader discussion that we get to, no spoilers or anything, but when we get to the is it good conversation, it's a very ordinary feeling Dodgers team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that right off to take away from what the Royals did this weekend. I mean, that's a team, that's a playoff caliber team over in the National League, I still think. And the Royals took 2 out of 3 from them. And it's been a while since they took 2 out of 3 from anybody. It's the first series win since May. They had failed to win 12 consecutive series up to that point. But I think that you can certainly look and call it a positive if you're talking about the last 2 weekend Royal series being a split of 4 games in Tampa Bay against the best team in the American League, and then a 3-game series win over a Dodger team that, again, I think they're a postseason team, but like the Dodgers have been the Monstars for a decade. I had never heard of the guy playing left field for the Dodgers on Saturday. Had never heard of him in my life. And look, I follow a team very closely that plays in the National League West. I'm very familiar with the Dodgers. I'm totally up on the idea that they call up a bunch of randos and they all OPS 850. But this is a very ordinary Dodger team. You get through the top 3 in their order, Betts, Freeman, and Smith. Like, Muncy and Martinez hit home runs, but they don't really get on base. Muncy's only hit like 180.
Yeah.
Like, it's just their pitching staff doesn't overwhelm you, and now Kershaw's on the shelf. Their bullpen doesn't really overwhelm you. It's just for their standard, a very ordinary baseball team. And that really jumped out to me watching the Dodgers this weekend. Much to the disappointment of the ample number of Dodger fans who came through the turnstiles this weekend at Kauffman Stadium. But back to the Royals. Let's pat them on the back. Let's give them some credit. They took 2 out of 3 this weekend, and I like how they played in taking those 2 games on Saturday and Sunday, because they did not do it by bopping a bunch of balls over the fence. They did it by putting innings together, stringing things that are making contact, running the bases aggressively. I would not have believed this if I did not see it live with my own 2 eyes. But on Saturday night, Bobby Witt Jr. scored on a sacrifice fly to the second baseman. That's a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
That happened. Like, the ball was shallow enough in the outfield that it was the second baseman's play. Like, it's not like, oh, he made a spectacular diving over the shoulder catch and there was no way he could recover to make a throw. No. Second baseman got under that ball. He had a chance to get behind it and throw Bobby Witt Jr. out, but Bobby Witt Jr. is really fast, and he scored on a sacrifice fly to the second baseman. And then later in the same inning, Salvador Perez scored on a fly ball to Mookie Betts, a shallow fly ball to Mookie Betts, who's got one of the best arms in the game.
Yep.
And Salvi with a bit of a creative slide to get over the tag of Will Smith. Like, that, it felt this weekend, and Royals fans, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this felt like when the Royals have had an identity as a team, like a positive identity, going back, and this goes back generations. This is not just the pennant winners in 2014 and 2015, but this is the good teams in the 80s, the championship winner in 85, the good teams in the late 70s. When the Royals have been good, their identity has always been that sort of daring base running, stealing bases, taking the extra base, scoring on fly balls, first to third on singles, that kind of stuff. Taking the extra base, being an aggressive team. And the Royals have the legs to do that. They have the speed to make that happen. And this weekend felt like kind of a return to that. And that's not to say that the Royals haven't been aggressive on the base paths. I mean, they went into the weekend, I think, 3rd in the American League in stolen bases. It's not like they've been a stationary team. But and they're still 3rd in the American League in stolen bases as we sit here going into today's games. But it felt like a return a little bit to that sort of speed and aggressiveness and base running centered offense where we're not going to stand around and wait for Salvi or for Bobby Witt or for MJ Melendez to hit the ball over the fence. We're going to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
The best example of this, and it ended up being a big run on Saturday night, Dairon Blanco, who I'm not sure is a major league caliber hitter. I'm not. He's 30 years old and he hasn't been before. Mm-hmm. I'm a little skeptical. Early returns have not been that inspiring, but I know what he can do. A man can run. And he bounced over to the first baseman, but he hustled down the line. He made Brazier, the reliever, drop the ball, essentially. It ended up being kind of an in-between play, and the flip to Brazier was a little offline. Brazier dropped it. So you get a base runner out of nothing, and Blanco steals 2 bases and comes in to score on, I believe, a sacrifice fly by Bobby Witt Jr. And that ended up being a big run. That was Kansas City's 6th run of the game, and they ended up winning by 2. So that kind of stuff, manufacturing runs. The Royals have struggled to score runs all season long. They are second to last in the American League in scoring runs. And if they think they're going to stand around and wait for the 3-run home run like Earl Weaver always talked about, they are sorely mistaken because they're second to last in the American League in that category too. It feels as though the Royals, and this worm's been turning a little bit, I think, in the last couple of weeks. I think we saw signs of it in the Tampa Bay series, and I think we definitely saw signs of it this weekend, that the Royals understand we have to create some runs, and we have the speed, we have the base stealers, we have the aggressiveness to create some offense in ways that can help us win some ball games and beat some teams that are better than us, which they're 4-3 against Tampa Bay and Los Angeles last 2 weeks. That's not too shabby.
No, that's not bad at all. And that's what we've been talking about for a long time in finding ways to win and excel where, that are on the fringes or on the margins, or finding ways, being creative in finding ways to drive in runs, to score runs. If you've got to win with, and this isn't even small ball. I mean, this is like tiny ball at this point. They only had a handful of extra base hits the entire weekend, but using your speed to your advantage. Bobby Witt's got elite speed. Dairon Blanco, if he's on base, has elite speed. Same with Maikel Franco. Like, these guys are
Michael Garcia.
What do I call Maikel Franco? Yeah, much different player. But though that is the way you should be winning. You should be maximizing the skill set that you have out there. You don't have guys who are mashing. You don't have dudes like that really anywhere in this lineup. You'd love for Nick Pratto to be that guy. He's not. So make your runs out of the tools you have. Find a way to make lemonade out of this pile of lemons. The Bard on the YouTube comments says, aggressiveness coming around, ran the Doyers into the ground. The last 7 games, no home runs to their names, but the base paths, they're starting to pound. And yes, every time Maikel Garcia is on base, he should be stealing. I have no problem with him getting thrown out stealing third on, what was that? Was that
was Saturday?
Game?
Yeah,
was Saturday.
It was a double steal in the second inning. I didn't love that because you had Urias on the ropes. They batted around in the first inning. But at the same time, if that's going to be who you are, then go make that play.
Yeah.
Make them make a throw to throw you out. You didn't love it because it didn't work. If it worked, it's a great play.
Right.
The reason I didn't love that double steal in particular is Urias had been getting not pounded. The Royals did not. The Royals hit 1 ball hard that first inning. They scored 5 runs. They hit 1 ball hard. It was Garcia's double to lead off the inning. But pitchers on the ropes. It was Urias' first start back, Julio Urias, from the injured list. You want to make him work.
Right.
You want to make him sweat. You want to make him worry about those runners. And I felt like they ran themselves out of an opportunity there. But again, if that's who you want to be, if that's a team you're deciding, hey, look, we're just not going to score on a bunch of solo and 2-run home runs. We're not the Braves, right? Let's create offense the way that makes the most sense for us. Make contact, put some pressure on the defense, take extra bases, steal bases with the good base stealers that we've got. Then I don't have a problem with the mindset that led to that play.
Right. I think contextually I can understand the complaints about it. I think it's totally fair, but in a vacuum, generally speaking, I'm fine with that. Be aggressive. And if you're not hitting home runs, then every time these guys get on base, attack, be aggressive, go after it, find a way to, if you're not hitting doubles, get to second base, get to third base if you're not hitting triples, whatever it ends up being. And I appreciate that. And right now, too, I mentioned it a moment ago, there are a handful of guys in this team who are hot right now. Witt hit 500 for the weekend, 5 for 10, 4 RBIs, driving guys in, using his speed on the base paths. Garcia. I don't know. Why is Maikel Franco on my mind? Maikel Garcia, 9 for 12 for the weekend, stole a couple of bases, did get thrown out the other time, though. Drew Waters, in his last 10 games, is batting .389, 436 on base, slug over 600. He's got an OPS over 1,000 in his last 10 games. Now, granted, his batting average on balls in play is over .570. So that is obviously not sustainable. That is not going to occur for the final 3 months of the season. But ride the wave. Like, if you know, hey, right now we're hitting a bunch of singles, don't wait and say, okay, well, let's play station to station until we start flashing the power. No, go after it. Be aggressive. Ride the wave. Ride the hot hand. Keep making it work while the, how do I want to phrase this? Like, while the going is good, the good get going. Like, use the base paths to your advantage. Be creative, as you said earlier. I like it. That is enjoyable baseball. You can enjoy baseball without having like 10 to 8 wins every single day or just hitting a bunch of home runs.
And if
this was a fun weekend to watch this team.
And if you've watched some of the teams this year that have been surprise teams in the sense that where they're at right now in their division, where they're at right now with their record is not where people might have expected when spring training broke back in March. Arizona, Baltimore, Cincinnati, teams like that who are overperforming. A big part of the reason why they're overperforming, they run the bases like crazy. They put a lot of pressure on teams, and they're fast. They've got team speed. Now, the thing that helps Arizona and Baltimore and Cincinnati, especially Baltimore in this regard, they also hit a lot of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one thing to put pressure on the defense and steal a run here and there. It's quite another when you can do that, but you can also score the most efficient way possible, which is hitting it where they can't catch it. That's why those teams are where they are in the standings and in the rankings offensively in the American and National League. But for the sake of talking about creating offense with your legs, like, good teams are doing that. There's an advantage to be had there. It's easier now to steal bases than it has been for a generation because of the new sizes of bases and the new disengagement rules. And it's not, though, again, as though the Royals haven't taken advantage of that, but I think in the last couple of weekends, they have taken more advantage of that in a way that I think really behooves them.
I think the other thing about those teams you mentioned, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Arizona, and I don't say this to be critical of Bobby Witt among others, but those teams also have young superstars who have exploded and have been great to not carry those teams. Like, Cincinnati's gotten contributions from a bunch of dudes, but Elly De La Cruz has been a major part of why they have really gone on this surge over the last month. Corbin Carroll is going to be a finalist to win National League MVP this year in Arizona. Baltimore has Adley Rutschman, who might be the next great major league catcher. Like, they have had those players who, along with some of the home runs and along with running the base as well, they've got true bona fide burgeoning superstars.
Yes.
Witt hasn't quite gotten to that point, and Pasquantino a little bit closer maybe, but he's also hurt, and he's now a non-factor for the rest of the year. So while you're still waiting for that, he's here kind of moment from Witt, or potentially from Melendez or Prado too. I won't completely write them off. But while you're waiting for that, finding a way to get these guys into places to succeed, I think is going to be as valuable as anything you could do from a managerial and game planning standpoint for the rest of the season. What did you think of Lynch when you saw him on Saturday?
Again, we've talked about with Daniel Lynch has been his mental toughness and his ability to get through games when maybe he's not getting the swings and misses, his ability to get deep into games. It is stunning that he went 5 innings in that outing. He gave up 3 runs in the second inning, and it looked like he was in big trouble, and he was throwing a ton of pitches. I think he ended up throwing like 105, 106 pitches in 5 innings, which that's not ideal. That's not what you want, but you got through 5. You got yourself through 5. You got yourself in line for the win. And he did stabilize, I thought, after that second inning. Got a lot more ground balls. The stuff, it's not, I don't want to say it's backed up. I don't think that's fair. But I expected more strikeouts than what we're getting from Lynch at this point. I thought we'd see more swing and miss. He's just not able to beat guys with his fastball in a way that, I mean, he's working, I think, at 92, 93 with it more often than he's getting up to 94, 95 with it. But if that's helping him locate it better and get better results on balls in play, then that might be the secret to his success. So I thought it was another positive outing for him. And certainly Brady Singer, I think, has looked in his last two starts more confident than he has looked all season, locating the slider and the sinker where he wants to locate them. That's the key to his success. And we have seen that his last two times out now. And hopefully this is the start of a trend.
8 hits, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts, 1 run allowed. That's the last 13 innings for Brady Singer. 5 walks, not great, but you allow 13 base runners in 13 innings, you're doing something right. Even when you're not overpowering dudes, getting a ton of swing and miss stuff, getting those strikeouts, that's an important place to be. And it's just, you know, I'll say it for the billionth time. It's just wait and see for me. Like, can we get his next, what is he going to have? 3 more starts before the All-Star break? Probably, maybe just 2.
Yeah, probably just 2.
All right.
Well, maybe even just 1. All-Star break is.
Well, I suppose. Yeah. They're off after Sunday.
Let's see. Yeah. He's scheduled for the 6th. So, yeah, 1 more start.
Okay. Can we get a third? Can we go into the All-Star break with 3 weeks, essentially, of positive play from Brady Singer? Can we get, July is a short month because of the All-Star break. Can we get to the end of July with no, you know, I'll even take a meh outing. Like, I'll take something that's just okay. But can we get all the way to the end of the month without one of those disaster outings? That will make me feel better about Singer than I have felt at any point this year, even after these last 2 outings. I just want to have proof that you're getting better. That's what I want at this point. I want proof that things are getting better. Not that you can have a great outing, a great single performance, but that the trend line is actually pointing up, and it's because each individual data point, so to speak, is going slightly up every time, as opposed to they're just zigzagging all over the place. That would give me a little bit more positivity about where Singer is going here in the near future. We'll talk some more Royals baseball a little bit later on in the show. We'll play MLB Is It Good for the halfway point of the season. We'll preview Royals Twins coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Right now, though, we'll get to our first commercial break, and we'll recap the weekend after that with the good, the bad, and the ugly right here on 580 Sports Talk. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, our weekly weekend recap here on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, what was your good for the holiday weekend, I guess you could call it?
Well, my parents are in town. I would say hello to them, but they're not listening right now. They're floating in our pool.
Nice.
My dad is asleep. I can guarantee that. They're hanging out outside. I'll text them to tune in for the America Draft top of the 4 o'clock hour. They'll enjoy that.
Right.
But anyway, my folks are in town, which is very nice. I had not seen them since the holidays, so it was good to see them. They've driven in from Denver. I've played a couple of rounds of golf with my dad, hung out with the whole family. We went out, as you mentioned, to the Royals game on Saturday. Went to Q39 beforehand. My parents said it's the best barbecue they've ever had in their life. So they're big fans of Q39. I told them if it was good enough for Andy Reid, it's his favorite place.
Right.
You know, it's probably good enough for them, and they definitely agree. And so, yeah, just enjoying a little family time this weekend. We'll play. My dad and I will play golf again tomorrow morning, and they'll stay through tomorrow and then leave on Wednesday. But it's been good having them in town.
Nice. My good is my wife's sister and her boyfriend are in town. They got in on Saturday night or Friday night, I guess. And they've been in through the weekend. They'll be in through Wednesday as well. And yeah, same thing. A lot of family time, a lot of good meals going out. We haven't seen them. Man, I don't even remember the last time we saw them in person, actually, because we didn't see them at the holidays. So it has been quite a while. So been good to see them. Also, wanted to give a shout out to the ice cream house in Baldwin City. My wife heard of it. I guess it just opened recently, so we wanted a little date night down there on Friday before my wife's sister got into town. Delicious, absolutely wonderful. So if you're east of the capital city and want a little stop, little ice cream treat, the ice cream house in Baldwin City, delicious,
nice.
Phenomenal. It's a nice little town, Baldwin City. No one calls it Baldwin City. They just call it Baldwin, but still.
Right.
Figured I'd give you the Google Maps address.
There you go. My bad. My parents got in on Friday, and we went out to dinner that night. And then we went and got some ice cream with the G's, got some ice cream, and that was when the storm came in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we parked under an awning there. We waited out the worst of it. And the battery in my parents' car died.
Oh, no.
So we needed a jump.
Oh.
And one gentleman who was also waiting out the storm offered to give us a jump. He said, let me run home. I'll grab my battery charger and I'll be right back. And he came back in about 10 minutes and his battery charger was out of juice.
Oh.
So thankfully somebody else pulled up and they had jumper cables, the traditional kind.
Yeah.
And we got that thing started. My folks have a new battery. But
good.
Yeah, that was a rough way to welcome them to Topeka. Here's this awful storm. They were down branches all over my neighborhood. Really rough time. Hope everybody out there is okay and that their homes and property are okay, able to be repaired. Branches down all over. But that was my bad.
Bright side. So did they drive out?
Yes, they drove.
Okay, so bright side is they made it to Topeka before the battery died.
Yes, very true. Yeah, could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, better than being stuck out in like Sharon Springs with a dead battery. No insult to Sharon Springs, but that's a long way out from Topeka. So glad they made it at least. My bad is that Twitter is broken, and I don't know that it'll ever be fixed. And it sucks, and I don't know what 1,000 tweets is. I don't know how to tell if I've read my allotment or not, so I'm just not using it, which you might say, well, good, get off of Twitter anyway. It's bad for you, which you're probably right. I've actually felt very cleansed by not using it.
You must be my wife.
Yeah. It just, you didn't have to make it broken, Elon. Just, why couldn't you just buy like a football team, like a normal rich person?
Business and brain genius Elon Musk deciding that the way to make his product better is limiting how much people can use it.
Yeah.
Because once again, a reminder, when it comes to Twitter, the people that use it are the product.
Yeah, if you've got Blue Sky, hit me up with one of those invites.
Yeah, I need a Blue Sky invite, man.
Yeah, I need one of those badly.
I was jonesing so bad on Saturday. That's my ugly. I really am firmly addicted to this app. Like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to get off. I've got lots of great likes and such, and I don't want this thing to be dead. Like, on a very, professional level, too. Like, it is hugely important. Like, Saturday was first day of NHL free agency, the second day of NBA free agency. And I have favorite teams in both sports, you might be aware. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. I couldn't read tweets. So how the hell am I supposed to know what's happening? Like, I'm going on to blogs, like it's 2007.
Sorting Reddit by new, hoping news breaks there.
Like, come on. Like, this is not just the stupidest, softest, dumbest, most arrogant, most vain person in the world runs this website, and he's going to break it, and he doesn't care.
I think it's already broken. I don't think it's ever going to get better. It's completely broken. My ugly, I would like to admit that I'm wrong for my ugly. I thought when I heard about the major traffic backups at the new Kansas City airport, it was just because people don't know how to use the cell phone lot. And I will say, I still think people just don't know how to use the cell phone lot.
That's right.
However, that is one of the worst engineered drive-ups in any airport on earth. And I know because some dumbass who wasn't paying attention at all traded paint with my wife when we went to the airport on a Friday night.
Man.
And just didn't care and was driving like a moron. And I was very mad, but I didn't get out of the car and commit a crime. So personal growth for me. But yeah, it is horribly designed. 3 lanes of traffic all joining at one intersection, becoming one. Who designed this? Terribly, terribly done.
Yeah, it's like you don't get to park at the passenger pickup. Just
right.
A public service announcement. You don't get to park there and sit there because, my person's plane has landed. So, yeah, they'll be out in any minute. No, they won't. You go sit in the cell phone lot or you do laps. Mm-hmm. That's how this works. You don't get to sit there. Yep. You pull up, you pick your person up, and you go. Okay? You don't get to sit on the curb for 15, 20 minutes waiting for somebody while they go down the aisle and they go get their bag, wait for their bag. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works. You'll figure it out eventually. I mean, I'm glad that Kansas City's airport is firmly into the 21st century now. But for all of you driving out there, and if anybody is feeling attacked by this, I am attacking you. Don't park in passenger pickup. You're not allowed.
Makes it worse for everyone else. That'll take us to a quick break. And after that, Matt Verderame will stop by. We'll talk about all things NFL coming up on 580 Sports Talk.
I'm Jim Chesko with your
just don't understand football, Marge.
Matt. Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
How can you not be romantic about football, man?
Every Monday at this time, Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated joins us to talk about everything going on in the National Football League. You can find all of Matt's work in Sports Illustrated at SI.com, and you can find him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. Matt, what is on the schedule for 4th of July celebrations this week?
I'm on vacation up at the lake house in New York. I'm looking out at a lake that right now has a bunch of rain pouring into it. But that's pretty much it. Sit on the deck, relax. When I come back, it's all football until the end of April.
Hey, that sounds pretty freaking good to me. Just sit on the deck, rain or not. That sounds pretty darn enjoyable. I wanted to ask you, Matt, about the interview that came out from Vanity Fair, actually, this past week with Travis Kelce. And despite the fact that the worst people on Twitter made a whole ado about nothing, taking it out of context, what was the biggest thing that you took away from that interview with the NFL's best tight end?
Honestly, and look, I thought Vanity Fair did a hell of a job, but honestly, not a ton from the standpoint that, I covered the Chiefs for a while when I was a fan side. And now, of course, they're part of the coverage that I do. I'll be visiting them in camp this summer. And, a lot of that with Kelce was already known. I mean, I feel like if you follow them close enough, you're aware of the fact that, he's been underpaid for years. He's not dumb. He knows that. His representatives know that. I don't think it bothers him all that much. What he said in Vanity Fair didn't surprise me. He basically said, I'm aware of the fact I'm underpaid. Sometimes it does feel like I can take advantage of a little bit. But at the same point, I love to win, and we win. And I think for him, he is making so much money, both on and off the field. And he's also got a couple of rings now to go with that money. I think he's pretty content. I think he's pretty happy. And I'm not surprised that after his career, he's thinking about stuff he can do. He seems like the kind of guy that just about anything he wants to do, I think, is in play.
What game show do you think he would do the best job of hosting? We were discussing this last week. He said he wants to host a game show. I think he'd be incredible at it, to be honest with you.
Well, it's an old show. It wouldn't be something obviously current, but the dating show would be, or the dating game would be amazing.
Oh my God.
Having Travis Kelce do that would be now. It also might get canceled after like 3 episodes because something is said that should not have been said. But I also wouldn't he be great on The Price is Right? If you imagine if Travis Kelce just running The Price is Right all the time, I feel like that would be fantastic. Not to run Drew Carey out of town or anything, but he's going to be one of these guys. And frankly, I think his brother too. If they want to be on TV calling games, they're going to do it. If they want to work, in pregame and postgame, like J.J. Watt now is doing with CBS, they're going to do it. They're big enough names and they have big enough personalities.
Yeah, I think I said it the other day that we have not seen the end. Once Travis Kelce retires, it's going to be almost Peyton Manning-like. Not quite, because Peyton is, I think, in every single commercial on TV. But we're going to see Travis Kelce for the next 30, 40 years. He's never going away. I also, piece of news from last week that I wanted to get to, Matt, the latest wave of gambling suspensions from players. And look, you are a trusted journalist, so I'm sure you can't say this, but I'm going to be honest with you. I was disappointed. We're getting practice squad defensive tackles getting suspended. I wanted quarterbacks. I wanted superstars. We got nothing. We got a bunch of role players. But on a serious note, were you surprised it was such a small number of names? Because it felt like this was getting built up that, hey, half the league is going to get suspended for this.
I'm not surprised. I feel like, some guys I'm certain are, I shouldn't say certain. I would imagine are getting away with it. That's the nature of the beast. I will say this. If I were the NFL, I'd send a memo out to all 32 teams before training camp. So just so you know, the next guy who gets popped and every guy after that, you're suspended for life. One and done. Zero tolerance. Because you cannot have it. And I know, as Jonathan Jones put out a tweet well, if you're betting on your own team, what's wrong with that? And I'm paraphrasing, of course. But, here's what's wrong with that. If you bet a prop on your running back and you took the over and he's 3 yards shy with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of a game you're 21 points in, maybe you let that guy on the other team score. Maybe you miss that tackle so that your offense gets back out on the field and has to run 4 or 5 times. And you hit that big prop. And now all these people that bet the under lost because of something you did. You can't have it. You cannot have it. If I see one more person who's supposedly seriously covering the league who says, well, I don't understand why gambling gets popped so much harder than some of these other off-the-field things. Look, nobody is arguing that gambling, even on the NFL, is more heinous than some of the uglier things that players get suspended for away from the field, whether you're talking about domestic violence or an assault or something like that. No one would make that argument. Of course, that's uglier. But the NFL, you always hear that, that slogan of protect the shield. Right? I mean, you hear it all the time. Nothing is more threatening to the shield, to the NFL, than guys in the sport gambling on NFL games. And they will come down on that as hard as they have to until guys stop doing it.
Our guest is Matt Verderame, covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Joins us every Monday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline for some NFL chat. You can find him on Twitter as long as it still exists, at Matt Verderame. Maybe you'll see him on Blue Sky someday. Matt, if you get a Blue Sky invite, hit us up. We're
desperate.
We're jonesing over here. Matt, are we really still talking, speaking of things that have blown up on Twitter, are we really still talking about the field conditions at the most recent Super Bowl? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is still talking about how if they played on a different field, the defense would have dominated the Chiefs' offensive line. Like, how is this still a topic of conversation?
I got to tell you, if I was a Chiefs player, like, that's great. You didn't play on a different field. That stinks. Game's over. I mean, I don't know what else. First of all, the one line of logic I'll never understand about that, the Chiefs were second in the NFL in sacks. It wasn't like the Chiefs were some team that couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. The Eagles did nothing in that game. Nothing. It wasn't even like it was one of these things where they had a ton of pressure or they were beating guys clean and falling. They couldn't do anything. And as far as Gardner-Johnson, who I thought, by the way, had a great year, and it's a hell of a pickup for the Lions, it's kind of odd coming from him. Like Brandon Graham, okay, it's one thing. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, okay, could you guys have covered anybody for 4 quarters? Could you guys have done anything? Because in the fourth quarter, I saw 2 of the most wide-open touchdowns in NFL history come in back-to-back drives, I believe. So it's a little bit of an odd message coming from him. Like, in the end, this is the time of year that all this stuff happens because there's nothing else to talk about. Right? You start seeing, I think there was a recent headline like, well, is Jordan Love more prepared now to be a quarterback for the Packers than Aaron Rodgers was? This recent sample size says he might be. All right, you know what? It's time to just play football. Like, we've reached the point now where we've run out of topics and we're just doing anything possible to get through these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, with the Royals being 25-59, I mean, we've been dying for training camp since mid-May. So we know what you're getting to there. Speaking of Jordan Love, you wrote a piece on the Packers' new starting quarterback for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Urge anybody to go over there, SI.com, click on the NFL tab, and you'll find that piece on Jordan Love. What was the most interesting thing you learned about the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers there in Green Bay in the process of writing and reporting that piece?
Yeah, I went up there about the last week in May for OTAs with the Packers, sat down with Love one-on-one for SI, and then talked to Aaron Jones, talked to Romeo Dobbs, a few other people, got a few answers from LaFleur about the upcoming year. And I would say this. I think watching the Packers that day and then also from talking to the guys, there's a sense of we're all in this together. We are going to have to do this together. This is not just going to be hand the ball to Jordan Love, let him throw the ball 40 times. He's going to win us bunch. Not because they don't believe him. I get the genuine feel that they do believe in him. I think it's more, though, this is new for him. He's been sitting on the bench for 3 years. This is going to have to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It's going to have to be the offensive line. It's going to have to be a defense being, frankly, better than it's been in the last year or so. They're too talented on defense not to be an upper echelon group. So I think there is the idea, and LaFleur said it in the presser that I was at that day, like, this is going to be an all-year thing where they've kind of got to grow together. They're going to hit some growing pains at times. But talking to Love specifically, he's just excited. I think, like you'd expect, the guy who's been doing it 3 years, anybody who's a competitor. I asked him about where he was when he found out about the trade. He said, I was at home. And my phone started blowing up. And I said, I know this is a weird question, but you got along really well with Aaron Rodgers. Was there any part of you that there was a little bit of a mixed emotion because you have a friend leaving? And he, without skipping a beat, was like, no, there wasn't. I mean, he wants to be on the field. So I expect it personally to be one of these years with the Packers where there are some games where he doesn't play well. And he's 18-34 with a $180 and a pick or two. But I also think there's going to be some games where he's 24 of 34 for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I do think that's in him. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, but I do believe in his potential.
We're chatting with Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated. He joins us at this time every single Monday to talk about everything going on in the NFL. You can find his work in Sports Illustrated at SI.com, and you can follow him on Twitter as long as it exists at Matt Verderame. And speaking of that Packers team and of Jordan Love, do you think it is possible that with a good first season as a starter, Love can lead that Green Bay team as constructed to a division title? And I ask because I have an emotional interest in it, but also I feel like the NFC North is fairly open. Like, I don't think Minnesota is going to be nearly as good record-wise because I think their defense might be awful. The Lions look to be on the way up, but I've watched this division my whole life, Matt. I will never trust the Detroit Lions until they actually do it. And the Bears likely won't be the worst team in the NFL again next year. How wide open is that division, and how possible is it that Love could carry that Green Bay team to a playoff berth?
It's very wide open. And I would not be shocked if the Packers won the division. I'm not picking it. I'm picking the Lions, but I do think the Packers are good enough. I wouldn't be shocked if they went 10-7. I'd be a little bit surprised just because I think there's going to be a lot of volatility out of Love this year. I mean, if you go back and look, Rodgers' first year, they went 6-10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll be that bad because I think the defense actually is very, very talented. But I do think this is going to take a little bit of time. The funny thing is, or maybe the sad thing is, depending on how you look at it, all these years, everybody in Green Bay wanted them to invest in a young receiver and young tight end. They never did it for Rodgers. And now you look at this group, and all they have are young guys. They've got young guys everywhere. You know, I mean, Watson and Dobbs and Musgrove and Kraft and Reed, who, by the way, I love Jay Reed. I think he's very good. So I wouldn't be surprised. Look, the one thing about this division, the Lions thing is a tricky thing because everybody's just so up on Detroit. And I like Detroit. Like I said, I'm picking them to win the division. But there is also the element of, I'd like to see Detroit actually do something first. And it's one thing to have a strong end of the year when you're out of it, nobody believes in you, and they ended up, to their credit, kind of playing themselves back into contention at the very end. What does it look like when you come into the year with expectations? And the thought is, if they don't win the division, it's a failure. I mean, they open up in Kansas City, which, by the way, the NFL doing them no favors that game.
Yeah.
Like, what does it look like? I mean, I don't expect the Lions to win. Are they competitive in that game? Do they lose 38-10 in that game? You know, I think they're better than Green Bay, but I don't think it's by a huge margin.
Do you think Goff's season was for real, or was that something of a flash in the pan? I mean, he's never been awful, except for maybe one stretch as last year with the Rams, but he's never been terrible, but he's also never been as good as he was this past season, statistically speaking. Do you think that was the real Jared Goff, or would you expect a little bit of a regression this year?
I think the answer kind of lies in the middle.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to put up the same numbers. I mean, he basically last year threw for, I believe it was like 44, 50, and like 29 touchdowns and 7 picks. I do not think he's throwing for 29 touchdowns and 7 picks again. And the one concern I do have with the Lions, outside of the defense, which the defense I think is much improved, but they still have to show they can do it. With Jameson Williams suspended those first 6 games, if you can double Amon-Ra St. Brown, who else scares you? Who else is there? That's a real problem. Like, I don't want to hear about Jahmyr Gibbs being the guy. Jahmyr Gibbs might turn out to be a Hall of Famer, but he's still a rookie running back. Like, I don't know. I mean, that is a real thing. That if Jameson Williams comes back from suspension and he's not who they think he is, or it takes him a while to get going, that's a problem. That's a real problem. So I do wonder about that. But with Goff, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to throw for 4,200 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Like, I think he's going to be Kirk Cousins, something like that, where you look at him and you go, yeah, he's fine. He's a good player. But I don't think you're going to look at him and go, wow, he deserves, all-pro mention. I don't think that's in the cards.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated. Check out his work at SI.com in Sports Illustrated and go follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. He joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline every Monday at this time to talk about the NFL. Matt, we appreciate the time. Enjoy another week of your vacation up in New York. Enjoy the 4th, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
That's Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated. Awesome insight into all things going on around the National Football League. And with that, let's get to the news here at the top of the hour. When we come back, we will lead off the 4 o'clock hour with our annual 4th of July draft. This year, America. That's right. Anything that's called America, American this, American that, it is on the table and it is eligible in our 4th of July America draft. We lead off the 4 o'clock hour with that on 580 Sports Talk.
Oh no!
4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski and Dan Lucero here with you on this first show of the month of July. Thank you so much for swinging by and hanging out with us. Let us know your thoughts on anything we're talking about today, either on the text line, where the number is 785-272-9429, or you can hop into the live stream on YouTube. Our channel is called Sports on 580 WIBW. If you want to watch the show, we are live streaming it today and every day when we're on the air. You can hop into the comment section and let us know your thoughts on what we're talking about there as well. Again, that's on YouTube, where our channel is called Sports on 580 WIBW, and we are live video streaming the show today. Here in this 4 o'clock hour, we have our 4th of July America Draft. We've got today's What Is Wrong With You, the first What Is Wrong With You of the month, and a round of Major League Baseball, Is It Good, as we start July and we effectively start the second half of the Major League Baseball season. We've got a lot of rounds, a lot of topics, things to get to, so let's dive right in to an annual tradition here on 580 Sports Talk, the 4th of July draft. There's a couple different times a year we like to bring out the draft, and I think possibly every single year since I started in 2000, that would have been summer of 2018 was the first summer I was here, that we have done some sort of draft on the show before the 4th of July. And we have done, what are you doing for your 4th of July party, favorite kind of fireworks, the worst people at your 4th of July party, what are the best things about the 4th of July? We've done a bunch of different ones. So today, our draft is going to incorporate all things America. Literally. We are going to draft just things that have America or American in their name, in their title, in the organization, whatever. If it's got the word America in it, it is eligible to be drafted today. Pretty simple. And we are covering all bases. Anything that has that word in it is eligible here. I will offer you the opportunity here. We'll snake draft this, as we usually do. Would you like pick number 1, or would you like 2 and 3?
I'll take the first pick.
Okay.
I will take the first overall pick of the America Draft, and it's a no-brainer for me. It is the single most iconic entrance music in professional wrestling history.
Wow! This is great.
Real American. Hulk Hogan's iconic theme music for many, many years. WCW and WWF.
He's hulking up,
WWE.
brother.
Real American. Fight for the rights of every man. Real American. The Hulk Hogan theme song. I don't know who sang it. It doesn't matter.
Rick Derringer.
Oh, yeah, Rick Derringer.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. There it is. Rick Derringer's Real American. Hulk Hogan's theme. The number 1 pick in the America Draft.
I got to be honest with you. I did have that on my list.
Of course.
I did have that one on the list.
Everybody have that on their list.
All right. That's a really good one. That is a really good one. I am surprised that was your number 1 pick, because my number 1 was an easy one to determine. God, that is a great theme song. Always has been.
So good.
I thought you were going to go with my number 1 pick, America's Pastime. I'm taking baseball under the guise of America's Pastime.
Fascinating.
That was the first one I wrote down when I came up with my list. Goat cheese, baseball, goat cheese pizza, apple pie, Chevrolet, all that. It is America. It is an American game. It's
a fascinating loophole.
Yeah. Oh, I got a lot of those. I got a handful of those.
Does the American Draft need a commissioner? Is that what
we need our Kennesaw Mountain Landis here, apparently.
Maybe an arbiter of the America Draft.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we do. Maybe we do. All right. So that was an easy number 1 for me, though. Number 2, or my first pick of the second round, I think, again, is easy because it is the entire reason we celebrate Independence Day. It is the entire reason we have a free country today. My second round choice is the American Revolution.
Okay.
Bloody, obviously. A lot of bloodshed, in fact. But we wouldn't have Independence Day if we didn't have our independence, which was fought for by our yeoman farmer ancestors in the American Revolution.
Okay.
Fascinating period of American history. Obviously.
Very red, white, and blue kind of pick.
Yeah.
Fittingly enough.
No, it is. I'm going to go read the Declaration of Independence tomorrow.
All right. So I get back-to-back picks here. I'm going with the American Basketball Association, or the ABA, which existed from 1967
Okay.
to 1976. The American Basketball Association introduced the three-point line, the slam dunk competition, the iconic red, white, and blue ball, Dr. Dave Julius Erving, Connie Hawkins, and of course, the San Antonio Spurs, Indiana Pacers, New York, now New Jersey, now Brooklyn Nets, and the 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. Without the American Basketball Association, the NBA would simply not be what it is today. Basketball itself would not be what it is today without the American Basketball Association, the ABA.
Wow.
That's my second round pick.
That's a great pick. I was not expecting that. That is a great pick, though.
Thank you.
By the way, I would like to point out, if you've got an entry for the draft, we're not necessarily going to pick it, but if you want us to know what you would enter, text line 785-272-9429. YouTube comments, channels called Sports on 580 WIBW. Send those in. We would love to hear those. All right, so you get a second. All right, that one took me aback. I was not expecting that one.
Listen, I came to play today.
That's a good
I
one.
came to play in the America draft.
That's a good one.
Third pick for me is going to be the most iconic rendition of one of our most patriotic songs. Ray Charles's version of America the Beautiful. America the Beautiful.
It's a good one.
Which I actually think ought to be our national anthem. I think it is a better song, note for note, bar for bar, than the Star Spangled Banner. I'm not saying the Star Spangled Banner is bad. I'm just saying America the Beautiful, I think, is a better song. And I think more of a celebration of America than a story about a battle.
I actually agree with you 100%.
I really like America the Beautiful. I think it should be our national anthem. I really do.
Yeah, it is a beautiful song. It is a celebration of our country. I actually agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't dislike the Star Spangled Banner, but America the Beautiful. Like we should be celebrating that at all times. No, I agree with you on that. With that, I am going to go with my first piece of popular culture. Some would consider it, some, not all, but some would consider it the greatest song ever written, about the day the music died. I'm going to go with American Pie by Don McLean.
Very well done.
Yeah. It is
Don McLean.
Don McLean, yeah, excuse me. It is a great song.
It's really long.
It is very long. I like a good long song, though.
It's so long.
Yeah, it is. What, like 7.5 minutes?
It's a bathroom break song. You know, you put it on. You're a DJ and you put it on and you go use the restroom.
I would like to specify, I am indeed picking the song. I am not picking the series of Teen Boy movies.
They are eligible.
They are
still on the draft board.
Yes, they are eligible. But no, I am going with the song. It is okay. 8.5 minutes. 8:42.
Yeah, it's a long song, man.
Fair enough. That's even a minute longer than I thought it was. But yeah, I'm gonna go with American Pie. Everybody knows the song. Everybody knows the chorus. That's got to be one of the most oft repeated choruses of all time, and most well-known choruses of all time too. All right, so that is my my third round pick.
Yes.
All right, so next after that, you took Hulk Hogan. You took Hulk Hogan's theme song.
I did.
Real American. Great. I'm going to go with a man who was, or Real American. I'm going to go with a man who was a great American. May he rest in peace. Whose son is currently one of the biggest stars in his chosen industry.
This is
Hard times, Daddy. We're going with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
The American Dream.
He is from an era in which professional wrestling was actually like cool and people were very passionate about it outside of just like the people who are, it's a much more niche thing now, but when it was a bigger thing, it was on TV and these guys were true superstars, Dusty Rhodes was one of the biggest, even though he never won a world championship in WWF, but one of the all-time greats, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. His son, I don't know if you know this, Cody, he has taken on the nickname the American Nightmare. That's what he chose to go by.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He has the world's worst tattoo, by the way. The world's single worst tattoo. It's like his personal logo. It's red, white, and blue, and it's right here on his neck. It's on the side of his neck, right under his chin. It looks terrible.
Okay. I get back-to-back picks here.
You do.
With my fourth pick in the America draft, I'm going to go with the American Football Conference, the AFC. Folks, it's the best conference going right now. Patrick Mahomes plays in the AFC.
Tremendous.
Joe Burrow and Josh Allen play in the AFC. The AFC's got history. The AFC's got rivalries. The AFC has Patrick Mahomes, and that's good enough. The American Football Conference.
That's pretty good. It is the best thing going right now in professional football. I'll give you that.
Without a doubt. Beyond a shadow of doubt. Love the American Football Conference.
That's a really good one.
For my next one, I'm not going with a song. I'm going with an album. One of my favorite albums of all time. One of those iconic albums of the 2000s. Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American.
I had that one.
I bet you did.
That's right near the top.
I'm so glad I got it from you then. I knew I was going to have to take that one sooner rather than later. Bleed American is as good. I mean, it still holds up.
It
you
does.
go back through and you listen to Bleed American by Jimmy Eat World, which came out July 24th of 2001. Every one of the songs on that album is good. Bleed
Yes.
American, banger. Praise Chorus, banger. The middle, you don't even have to ask me. You know that's a banger. Sweetness, banger.
Yeah.
Get It Faster, awesome. The Authority song, great. Love that album.
It is a great album. For those who don't know, of course, the most famous piece of trivia about it is that it was released to be Bleed American, but then they had to change the album temporarily, and they just made it a self-titled album. It was just called Jimmy Eat World because it was released on September 11th, 2001. And understandably, they did not want...
Yeah, it was re-released after the attack.
Yes. Yeah, they had to re-release it because not a great connotation.
It had come out 2 months prior, and I think the copy... I think my brother actually bought it before I could, so he had it. But yeah, Bleed American, Jimmy Eat World, great album.
Great song too.
Barbara knows what I'm talking about. Good album, Dan. You're darn right, Barbara. Thank you for that in the YouTube comments.
No, that is a great album. All right, next one for me. Man, there's a lot of good choices here. All right, I'm going to go to a movie here. This is, I believe, our first movie off the board, and it should probably be given away pretty quickly. Maybe Eddie Murphy's finest piece of work, Coming to America.
I'm legitimately upset that you took that. Oh, man.
One of the greatest American comedies of all time.
Oh, so good. So good, man.
A truly great film. That was an easy. Well, not easy because I got a lot of good ones on my list. I'm pretty happy with my list. But Coming to America next. This is, by the way, for just joining us, the America Draft. Every year we do a draft for the 4th of July. This year it's anything with America or Americas or American in the name. That means it is eligible to be drafted. We're through the first 5 rounds of our draft. And man, oh God, there are so many good ones here. All right, I will go with a song as well. I'm going to empty the clip of my musical options here. Another great artist, American artist, lost unfortunately within the last few years. May he rest in peace. Tom Petty, Gainesville's own American Girl. I literally just heard it in the car this morning as part of my Cheap Trick.
Girl, here.
She was. Yeah. Awesome song. Shout out to Britt. Britt is the biggest Tom Petty fan I know. I don't think he's here, but shout out to him.
I'm a big Tom Petty fan. All right, I'm going with another song. I got my snake draft picks. This, best known as Apollo Creed's entrance music. That's right. James Brown.
Oh my God. It's a banger.
It is so good. Why'd they have to kill Apollo, man? Spoiler alert, Apollo Creed dies in Rocky IV. Why'd they have to do that?
I don't think you have to give spoiler alert for 40-plus-year-old movies.
Maybe not, but still, just be safe. Maybe there's somebody
That's
out
fair.
there ripping through the originals these days, and
Fair
they
enough.
don't know. But man, why do they have to do Apollo Creed like that, man? That's
No.
tough. That's tough.
Have you seen any of the Creed movies with Michael B. Jordan?
I haven't. I want to. I just
Yeah.
haven't made the time.
I've heard they're really good, but no, I've never seen them either.
All right, I am going to go.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go a little off the board. This is going to be an interesting one. You're not probably going to have thought of this one, but I'm going to go with a prominent actress of television and movie, America Ferrera.
What?
Yes, America Ferrera.
America Ferrera.
Emmy
wow.
Award, Golden Globe Award, Screen Actors Guild Award winning actress who has starred in films such as The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I haven't seen that. I'm reading her Wikipedia. But she was in Superstore, which was a great TV show that was on NBC for a while that I really enjoyed. She was in End of Watch, which I did see and liked. Ugly Betty was her breakout role on television.
She was in End of Watch?
Yeah.
That's a really good movie. I don't remember her in it, but I also saw it once a long time ago. I really enjoyed it, though.
America Ferrera. Well, trying to diversify the board a little bit because it really could be all songs.
It really could be.
But how about a person? America Ferrera. She's on the board.
That's a really good one.
Shout out to the texter from 785. I agree with you, Dan. Why'd they have to do that to Apollo? They didn't, man. He was coming out. He had James Brown had to watch Apollo Creed die, man. I'm so fired up about him hitting the microphone. I'm really mad that they did that still.
I believe we have one song that sounds like a food so far. But I'm going to go with our first food of the draft.
Okay.
American cheese.
Ah.
Few cheese is better on a classic American cheeseburger than American cheese.
That's really good.
Yeah, not necessarily like Velveeta here, but American cheese. Do you have a favorite cheeseburger cheese?
Not particularly. American is solid. You know, and every now and again, a little pepper jack, maybe.
I would say cheddar and American. Sharp cheddar and American would be my two picks. All right, so that is the end of, what is that, round 7. First pick of round 8. We're doing a snake draft here. This is where, again, similar to America's pastime, I am using the rules to my advantage here. And I would like to select The Great American Novel.
The literal Great American Novel by, who is it, Tim Roth? Not Tim Roth.
The concept of The Great American Novel. Huck Finn, Last of the Mohicans. Their eyes were watching
Roth.
God. Their eyes were watching God, yeah. The concept of The Great American Novel.
Okay, so not
Blood Meridian.
literally Philip Roth's The Great American Novel.
Correct.
Have you ever read that?
I have not, actually. I've read a lot of the ones I have just listed to you, but I've not read that one.
You know it's about baseball, naturally.
Oh, well, fittingly. Yeah.
The novel concerns, from Wikipedia, the Patriot League, a fictional American baseball league, and the National Communist Conspiracy to eliminate its history because it has become a fully open communist organization. This was written in 1973. It was a different time.
Yeah, a little bit. That's pretty funny. No, like I want the greatest book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Little Women. I'm now just reading off of Wikipedia too. To Kill a Mockingbird, The Great Gatsby, although that book sucks. There's a hot take for you. The Great Gatsby sucks. Otherwise, though, yeah, give me the concept of The Great American Novel.
Okay. All right, I'm back up on the board.
Yep, back-to-back picks for you.
We're going 10 rounds here, so these are rounds 8 and 9, and we'll close it up with round 10. So we're going 10 rounds. I get 2 picks here.
Yeah, 16 and 17 overall.
This is going to be my 4th song selection.
Okay.
Grand Funk Railroads, We're an American Band.
I was thinking about that one next as well.
We're coming to your town. We're going to party down. We're an American Band.
That's a great one.
The wild shirtless lyrics of Mark Farmer. The bong rattling bass of Mel Shocker. The competent drum work of Don Brewer.
That is a great one. I own an album, an LP of some, I think they're Italian rock band that covers We're an American Band. And it's fire. I'm not going to lie. It's surprisingly good. But nothing quite takes the original by Grand Funk Railroad. That's a good one. That was one of the first ones that came to my mind today.
And for my 9th pick in the America draft,
number 17 overall.
One of our texters landed on this. A text from the 785 landed on this. They were on my draft board, and the fact that the text line shouted out swayed me into using a pick on 1973's American Graffiti.
Good one. Very good one.
George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola involved in the making of this one. Richard Dreyfuss, Ron Howard, Harrison Ford.
That was Harrison Ford's breakout role.
Yes, it was.
And George Lucas, for that matter. His role in American Graffiti is why George Lucas cast Harrison Ford for Star Wars.
I saw this movie at it was like a pop-up drive-in movie when I was living out northwest Kansas. There was a pop-up drive-in showing. They put up one of those big inflatable screens and brought out some food trucks and went to a vacant lot and put up the screen and showed American Graffiti. And it was good. It was a very good movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So good call from the 785, and American Graffiti makes the list.
That's a really good one. All right. I've got, man. So I've got my final two picks here, picks 18 and 19 overall. I am going to go. All right. They just released a movie about this. They just released a 30 for 30 about this. I'm going to go with American Gladiators.
Great pick.
Now, I obviously was not around to watch this when it was originally on TV in its original glory, but I have seen many videos. I have seen the 30 for 30. I have seen a lot of retrospectives about it, and it is awesome, and it is badass, and I'm going with American Gladiators with my 9th round pick. And as we enter the final round, once again, I am going to, I think this one counts. It's a proper name. I am going to go with the 325 game on the Fox network during the NFL season. I'm going to go with America's Game of the Week.
I thought about you picking this, America's Game of the Week.
A lot of Packers games in my day have been America's Game of the Week. You're going to get, Eagles Cowboys in a divisional showdown. You're going to get 49ers Seahawks, Packers Seahawks, something like that. You're getting America's Game of the Week.
Kevin Burkhardt on the call.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Olson doing the analysis.
Buck for many years. Yeah. I had to get some football in there.
That's a strong pick. That's a really strong pick. I like that. All right. So I get one more pick here. And with apologies too from the YouTube comments, the band America, not American, incidentally.
Really?
Yeah, they're from England.
Oh, I just sort of figured they were. Yeah, horse with no name.
Also, apologies to the Neil Diamond song "America." Got shout out a couple times on the YouTube comments. I can't hear it without thinking about the Will Ferrell sketch where he's Neil Diamond, VH1 storyteller sketch. I would quote it, but I don't know if I can.
Yeah, I don't know about that. If that's allowed.
I was driving drunk. I was real drunk, and I hit a kid. And we pulled over, and he was dead. And then I wrote "Sweet Caroline." One of the all-time great sketches in SNL history. So with apologies to those, and with apologies also to one I am stunned you did not take, the dearly departed Alliance of American Football. I am going to draft as my final selection the theme song to Team America World Police. America, expletive, yeah.
Oh my, I have not heard that song in a long time. It is great. It is very funny. Sportsmanship. Books.
The kicker at the end is so good. Wax lips. Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh my gosh. I wish we could sing the whole thing, but we absolutely cannot.
Wish you could play the whole thing. But yes, the song is called America, expletive, yeah. And the theme song to Team America World Police. And that is my final pick in the America draft.
That's a good one. Man, if I was like 16 still, that absolutely would have been like a top 5 round pick.
What are you saying?
Nothing. I used to listen to that all the time. Wow, that's a really good one. That's really, really good. All right. We have come to a close. 10 rounds in. We have drafted 20 different things with America in the name for our annual 4th of July draft. My draft included America's Pastime, also known as baseball, The American Revolution, American Pie by Don McLean, The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, American Girl by Tom Petty, American Cheese, the concept of the Great American Novel, American Gladiators, and Fox's America's Game of the Week at 3:25 Sunday afternoon.
For yours truly, I've got Rick Derringer's Real American, better known as Hulk Hogan's theme music, the American Basketball Association, the ABA, Ray Charles's America the Beautiful, the American Football Conference, the album Bleed American by Jimmy Eat World, James Brown's Living in America, the actress America Ferrera, Grand Funk Railroad's We're an American Band, the film American Graffiti, and America expletive yeah from Team America World Police.
What were your best options that did not make the cut?
I kind of spilled a couple of them. I've got Kid Rock's American Badass.
I thought about that one too, but I didn't know.
Did not draft.
I thought I might get embarrassed to say it out loud.
American Idiot by Green Day.
Okay.
Is on here. I did have the Alliance of American Football on my draft board. Also, Aerial America, the TV show that airs on the Smithsonian Channel, where it's just like,
wow.
It's just like airplane footage of all 50 states and stories about the history of each state. And that show rules. It's like peak dad TV.
That's pretty funny.
I've watched that on Paramount Plus many times. Love Aerial America.
I got through most of mine. I also had, for a certain generation, I had American Bandstand.
Oh yeah, Dick Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Six Flags Great America, which is really mostly for me, but that's the name of the Six Flags near where I grew up. There's also just regular Six Flags America, I think in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And then for you podcast fans or NPR fans out there, I had This American Life.
Good one.
Great podcast.
No American males on your list.
No, I thought about them.
WWF
I
tag
sang
team.
this song in my head walking through the hallway earlier today.
American males.
All right, we're going to put this on Twitter. Our Twitter handle, if you can get it to work, there's no guarantee this is going to work.
You may not. If you've already seen an arbitrary number of tweets that Elon Musk woke up and decided that you needed to see today, then maybe you won't get to see this. But in the event that you do, follow us on Twitter at SportsOn580 and vote on the poll. Which of us had the best America draft?
And let us know who you think. We went 10 whole rounds. This is a good draft. This is a very solid draft through and through. So we'll put that on the Twitter here in the next, during this commercial break. We'll take a timeout. We'll come on back. We've got our first What Is Wrong With You of the week and of the month right here on 580 Sports Talk. It is time for the first What Is Wrong With You of the week here on 580 Sports Talk. And for the month of July, Brendan Dworzinski and Dan Lucero here with you. And as always, What Is Wrong With You is brought to you by Top City Metal Supply, who cuts the metal you need to your specifications, which saves time, money, and material. Never settle when it comes to metal at Top City Metal Supply on South Topeka Boulevard. Dan, why don't you go first with our stories today?
All right. Any comment I could offer on this story, I think, would kind of be superfluous. I'm just going to go ahead and eventually, when I open it in an incognito window and stop running into the paywall, I'm just going to read it. And then we'll comment on it later. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's not going to let me. Sandwich used in assault, man says.
Okay.
A sub sandwich was identified as the weapon in an alleged assault Monday, the Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office reported. This is Traverse City, Michigan. A 62-year-old Garfield Township woman is in custody at the county jail after she was accused of assaulting a male acquaintance with the sandwich, police said. Captain Chris Clark said police were called at 3:31 p.m. Monday about the alleged assault near Keystone Road in Garfield Township. I'm having to squint to read this. It is paywalled, but I can read it through like the blackout on the screen.
Yeah.
So be patient with it. That's why, like, if I'm on video, I look like I'm staring really intently at the screen. I am. The woman told deputies that she had been offering her male acquaintance a bite of her sandwich when it fell and hit him in the face. The man told police he felt threatened by her actions and accused her of assaulting him with the sandwich. Police examined the evidence. The sandwich was still intact, but, quote, floppy, deputies said. The kind of sandwich was not specified in the report, which has been sent to the Grand Traverse County Prosecutor's Office for review. Alcohol was involved in the incident, Clark said. The woman had a preliminary breath test of 0.0265.
So she had like a third of a glass of wine.
Not even legally drunk. Yeah, half a Mike's lemonade and was ready to enjoy her sandwich. The case remains under investigation.
Okay, so how did it fall and hit him in the face? Was she like feeding him like a bird? Like, was she dangling it above him?
Like, here, you want a bite of this sandwich? And yeah, she says, well, it was floppy, right? So maybe some ingredients fell out the side.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a messy Italian, like he got hit with a tomato or something. Or maybe the male in question is telling the truth and she just hauled off and socked him upside the face with a hoagie.
Yeah, something doesn't add up here. I also want to know, I've never thought of a sandwich as floppy before. Sloppy, yes. Floppy, no.
No, that might be too much oil and vinegar on that thing. If it's floppy, you got it over sauced.
Your limp sandwich.
You got it over seasoned for sure. Vance in the YouTube comments, must have been a club sandwich.
Ha!
I think she would have done more damage if it had been.
Rim shot.
So yes, man assaulted by floppy sandwich in I believe that's the UP. I think Traverse City's up in the UP.
We're about to find out. No, it is. Oh, I can't tell.
Yeah,
it's like it's
I don't know what you would call. No, it's in the pinky finger of the mitten.
Okay, yeah. So it is right on the water.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Mackinac City's.
Yeah,
right on the tip of the peninsula there.
It is far north.
Yes, Traverse City, way north. On the pinky of the mitten.
Okay.
If you've ever met a Michigander and they hold up their hand to show you where on the hand that they were that they live or was born. For me, I'm down here. I was born in Flint, so that'd be me down here.
Okay.
Somewhere. Yeah, kind of by Detroit.
My story today for What Is Wrong With You is going to take us overseas. We're going to the Philippines, but we're actually also going to 3 other countries because a Filipino advertising agency has apologized for using footage of other countries in a promotional tourism video, including a campaign using images of rice terraces in Indonesia, sand dunes in the United Arab Emirates, and an aircraft landing in Switzerland.
Nah, that rules.
The ad agency, DDB Philippines, has apologized for what they're calling a, quote, unfortunate oversight.
So we in the biz call B-roll.
Yes. So the tourism secretary of the Philippines, Cristina Garcia Frasco, said no public funds had been used. So that's a positive, at least. She said the Department of Tourism had repeatedly sought confirmation from their advertising agency that the materials used were all their own and original. She said on all these occasions, they reportedly assured the Department of Transportation that the originality and ownership of all materials are in order. It was part of a, well, in American dollars, $900,000 program called Love the Philippines, or Love Indonesia, apparently. The use of videos from other countries was first uncovered by analysis by a French news agency as well as a Filipino blogger.
I wonder how you would know, like, do they see like a Swiss flag flying in the background
Yeah,
when the
right.
plane landed?
I don't know. If you're like, hey, I recognize the Geneva airport.
That rice terrace looks distinctly Indonesian to me. Doesn't look Filipino. We do better quality here, or maybe they don't. I don't know.
Ms. Frasco said the department would ensure that DDB Philippines took accountability for the video. The company itself said in its own statement that the use of stock footage in mood videos is standard in the advertising industry, but apologized for using other videos in this instance. Saying, yeah, this is standard, but we're also sorry, not really how it works. That's an indication you are in the wrong.
So, yeah, do the Philippines have sand dunes?
I don't know. I have no idea.
So, like, how, I just want to know, like, shout out to the people that figured out this was wrong, but, like, how would they know?
Yeah, it appears there are some dunes, but I don't know if they're, like, notable. The La Paz sand dunes.
Okay.
I don't know. It looked like a crater. It looks like Mars.
It's not like you try to do like, hey, here's a tourism video for Visit Milwaukee, and you can see our beautiful scenery, and then it's like the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that seems funny. I'm not sure that's really Sheboygan.
Okay, yeah. The sand dunes in the United Arab Emirates look like Arches National Park in the U.S. The Filipino sand dunes are like a desolate beach.
Piles of sand.
Yeah, it looks like craters. And then ocean. Yeah, this is pretty bad.
Is there a hyperlink for the
Yeah, can we watch the video?
Yeah, I think there is. There's a hyperlink. If you click the well, no, this is just about okay, no, it does. I guess it shows you the video here. There's a couple running, they're dancing in the streets. Oh, nope, now it cut off. Now it's a woman talking.
Oh, you'll get a partial video.
Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, those sand dunes definitely, those look distinctly like Middle Eastern sand dunes to me, for sure. 100%. Undeniable.
Yeah, I have no idea how you know that airport is not right. Like, all you see is runway and the nose of a plane landing. So whoever was on that was killing it. But yeah, these sand dunes, certainly not from the Philippines. That's extremely funny. All right, who you got? Who's our winner today?
Nah, I got to go with the sandwich of salt.
See, I don't know. There are so many, like, it's so he said, she said. Well, they used the phrase floppy sandwich, too.
They did.
All right, I'm with you. Let's go with the sandwich of salt. I really want to know what happened here. I want to get to the bottom of this.
Right?
Because the description of it fell out of the sandwich and hit him in the face. Is that what it says?
Yeah, hit him in the face.
So it sounds to me like she was feeding him like a baby bird. I don't know how else it falls out and hits you. That's not how your face works. Unless he had his face tilted back. Also, why is she feeding him?
There are times like you see a story on what is wrong with you and you think, man, we should reach out to the author. I bet Elizabeth Brewer of the Record Eagle in Traverse City, Michigan would be willing to come on the program and discuss.
Yeah, we can bring her on. We can talk to her to come on Wednesday.
We should probably do it.
We have a segment where we make fun of idiots. Would you be willing to come on and talk about your story about idiots?
We're doing a follow-up on the sandwich assault.
Now let's reach out. Let's send an email.
It's a story of interest to our listeners.
When you say it fell and hit him in the face, what exactly do you mean by that?
Every answer to your question, everything I know is in the article, guys. Sorry.
All right. The sandwich assault wins today in What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by Top City Metal Supply. Metal cut to order when you need it. That's Top City Metal Supply on South Topeka Boulevard, found halfway between Frito-Lay and Forbes Field. Let's get to a break, and we'll get to MLB. What or is it good? I almost said, what is wrong with you again? Well, that maybe applies to some of these teams. MLB Is It Good is next on 580 Sports Talk. .447 on 580 Sports Talk. To finish off this 4 o'clock hour today, not only are we bringing you a little Blue Oyster Cult, but we are bringing you everybody's favorite 580 Sports Talk game show. During baseball season, we bring it to you about once a month. It is called Is It Good?
Is
All
it
right.
good?
We've got a Major League Baseball edition of Is It Good? We are now halfway through the Major League Baseball season, roughly. Let's get to a handful of mostly teams that I think deserve to have the question asked, are they good? Is this thing good? And we will start with one of the hottest teams in all of baseball over the last month. That is the Cincinnati Reds. Dan Lucero, are the Cincinnati Reds good?
They're fun.
Yeah.
I'll say that. They are a hell of a lot of fun, and that counts for something. And they might just be good enough in the National League Central. Right now, they are tied with Milwaukee atop the division at 45-39. As you mentioned, they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball. What did they win? 12 in a row, was it? Towards the end of June there. It was 5. It was 6. It was 1. Yeah, 12 in a row. So that's been really fun. And Ellie De La Cruz is a supernova. Just can't take your eyes off of him when he's on the field. He's so fast and he's so big and he hits the ball so hard and frequently very far. He's going to be a guy to watch for the next decade and a half. He's only 21. It's a great story. They got Joey Votto back now too. That's fun, even though he hasn't really hit his 11 games back. But I regret to say that I do not believe that the Cincinnati Reds are good. And the reason I don't believe that they're good is because they don't have very good starting pitching. Right now, as it stands, the Reds have the second worst earned run average in all of the National League. Their starting pitcher, they're healthy guys they have in their rotation right now, other than rookie sensation Andrew Abbott, who's come in and in 6 starts put up a 1.21 ERA. That's great. He's been awesome. But the guys behind him in that rotation have ERAs of 6.66, 6.96, and 5.56. Now, Hunter Green's got an ERA below 4. He's on the injured list right now, but he's a young pitcher. They might be watching his innings. He's only 23. I don't think they have enough pitching to really make it last in the National League Central. I would love it. It's been great to see that ballpark full again. People enthusiastic about the Reds. They really use a guy like Luis Castillo, who they gave away last year. And I'm sure they're glad to have Noel V. Marte. And hey, I don't know, maybe the Mariners will give him back, because I don't think the Mariners are very good, and I don't think they're going to contend.
No. Yeah, I've been a down year for the Mariners.
Maybe
Maybe listen to back.
Yeah, maybe they'll give him back.
I am going to say that the Reds are good, and I'm going to say that because I think they are good enough. Is their starting pitching good? No. But they've got enough fun, quality position players. I think they are good enough to win a bad division. Not as bad as the AL Central, but the NL Central is not good. It's Milwaukee, who was down at one point 6-3 to the Cubs today and then won 8-6. Thank God I was not watching that game when we were on the air instead. They have a half a game lead on the Reds going into tonight's action. The Reds are right there with them. Pittsburgh is 6 games out. The Cubs are 7. The Cardinals are 10. It's an awful division. I still don't really trust Milwaukee all that much. So I do think that they are good enough. And for that reason, I will say the Reds are good. And they've got a good young superstar, and that I think does count for a lot when you are a burgeoning team. Let's stay in the National League. The Florida Marlins. Are they good?
48-37, second place in the National League East. Luis Arraez obviously has been the big story for them, currently hitting .389. I am going to say they are good because I am in on their starting pitching. They have last year's Cy Young Award winner who's actually having a rough year, and it hasn't mattered so much because Jesus Luzardo and Braxton Garrett have taken big steps forward. And we need to be talking about 20-year-old Eury Perez with a .247 earned run average in his first 10 big league starts, 54 strikeouts to just 15 walks in 47 and a third. Electric stuff from the 20-year-old. It's not a super bullpen. They probably could stand to add to that here as the trade deadline approaches. But I think they've got the pitching and just enough offense. And again, somebody has to go to playoffs in the National League. It may as well be the Marlins.
I'm going to say they're good as well. The MVP case for Luis Arraez is pretty much over unless he goes on an all-time heater here in the dog days of the summer. But they've got fun players. They've got good players. I think they need a right-handed reliever with an extra year of team control. Think they could use that?
They could, yeah. They could stand to make a phone call to the 816.
I think that would make a whole lot of sense. No, I think the Marlins are good. I think they've got plenty of talent, and they're, again, similar to Cincinnati. They're fun. They've got a lot of players who are fun. You want to tune in and watch them. I want them to be good for that reason, and I think they are. And that's now 2 months in a row that they have been featured in Is It Good? And I think we can safely establish at this point that they are. Let's talk about the Dodgers. You mentioned them a little bit earlier on. You teased that. So let's get to the Los Angeles Dodgers and whether or not this year's edition of the Dodgers are any good.
Good enough to make the playoffs? I think so. I think they can finish second in the National League West, and that probably gets them into the playoffs. But like by Dodgers standards, no, this isn't as good a Dodger team as it has been. They've got some real who's that's, who's he's on this roster. And it's just not a lineup that really scares you outside of their three best hitters. I mean, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith. I know JD Martinez has 19 home runs and Max Muncy's got 18 home runs. It's just not the intimidating lineup that they've had for years and years where it felt like there were no easy outs. They got a bunch of easy outs on this team. And their pitching staff, to me, feels really shaky. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. Unfortunately, like Dustin May's hurt. Now Clayton Kershaw's hurt. I think it's a good enough team to make the playoffs, but I think if you're expecting them to morph into what we know the Dodgers to be these last few years, I don't think it's going to happen.
I think you got to grade on a scale here. Like for the Marlins, good is you're a playoff team. Yeah, that's great. For the Dodgers, it's you're contending for a World Series championship. And I just don't know that this team is. They've been banged up. I get that. They didn't do a whole lot in free agency this past year other than add Jason Hayward, who has been pretty decent.
Yeah.
But overall, it's not been the kind of year you expect from the Dodgers. That's probably because they're going to try to add Shohei Ohtani in the offseason. One real quick one from the American League. Astros, are they good?
I'm good enough to make the playoffs. Maybe should be. They're 46-38. Don't love their pitching staff right now. A lot of injuries. Jose Urquidy and Luis Garcia. Garcia's out for the year. I think their bats are going to come around the second half, though. I think Jose Abreu is going to get going. I think Yordan Alvarez coming back is going to help them a lot. I think they're good. I think they're still good.
No, I'm with you on that. I think they get my benefit of the doubt pick. Like we've seen them be good so much in recent years. They've got so many of the same players. I know they're not all there. I know Brantley's not coming back. Jose Abreu has not been good since they acquired him, but he's got such a good track record. I would say they're good.
Congrats to the Mets and Padres. You're off the hook in this segment because you're not good.
Yeah,
and I
you're
would have
not.
loved to have talked about it.
Quick word on the Padres?
You bums.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this edition of Is It Good? Let's get to a break. We'll lead off the 5 o'clock hour with today's 580 Sports Talk headlines and maybe some news from K-State Hoops. It's all coming up on 580 Sports Talk.
Former KL
1 hour left on 580 Sports Talk on this Monday, July 3rd. I'm Brendan Dorzinski. He is Dan Lucero. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We are off at 6, but we've got some 580 Sports Talk overtime at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, followed at the bottom of the 6 o'clock hour by Royals pregame coverage on the Royals Radio Network. Boys in Blue taking on the Minnesota Twins to open up a series tonight. 7:10 first pitch in Minneapolis for the first game of the Royals set with the Twins, and you'll be able to hear all the action tonight right here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW. In this final hour of the show, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines to get to. We'll talk a little K-State hoops. I had an idea for this segment that included, hey, there were some rumors this weekend that maybe the K-State staff got a little bit ahead of themselves, and maybe someone they thought was committing has decided to renege, at least temporarily, on that. But that changed about an hour ago with a tweet from Joe Tipton of On3 and their recruiting services that one of the players K-State hosted this past week is no longer considering another school that hosted him on a visit. So maybe, indeed, K-State is getting closer to adding another member to its roster next year. So we'll get to that. We'll preview tonight's Royals-Twins game, all that and more coming up in this final hour of the show. Don't forget, we're taking your texts, 785-272-9429. We'd love for you to hop in on YouTube as well. Go to youtube.com if you haven't already. Just search Sports on 580. We're the first thing that's going to pop up. You can subscribe to the channel right from the search window, but go to our channel. That's where you can find today's live stream and comment section, all of our old shows, all of the other content we've put out in video form online. It's all on our YouTube channel, Sports on 580 WIBW. Plus, if your Twitter account still works, and maybe it will for the next 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 months, who knows? It is impossible to know at this point. We put a poll up on our Twitter account, which is at Sports on 580, where you can go and vote on our America draft from last hour. 10 rounds, Dan and I drafting things named America or American or Americas or Americans or anything like that. It is all up at our Twitter account, Sports on 580. That is the handle, at Sports on 580. Dead heat so far, 50-50 when I last checked. I like that. It was a good competition. That was a good draft.
It was a very good draft. Lots of great picks. A lot of off the wall selections.
I was not expecting the American Basketball Association. I'm still reeling from that one a little bit.
So influential.
It was. No, it really was. Let's get to our headlines. We've got a handful of those to get to today. Our 580 Sports Talk headlines on this 3rd of July. First one for me today, the full rosters for this year's All-Star game are out. Let's start with the American League. We already went through the starters last week. So we'll tell you who was announced as a reserve for the American League. There are 3 catchers on the roster, including the Royals' only All-Star this year, Salvador Perez, number 8, the second most in Royals history. Do you know how many behind George Brett he is?
That's a good question. Brett, go to 11 or 12?
13.
13.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of All-Star games for George Brett. Salvi, though, second most in Royals history. He is going to his 8th. Adley Rutschman also got the nod from the American League, as did the starter Jonah Heim. Infielders in the reserve corps for the American League, Vladimir Guerrero, former Royal All-Star Whit Merrifield going back, as well as his teammate Bo Bichette in Toronto, and Jose Ramirez. We talked about a bunch last week. Brent Rooker getting a nod as a DH. He is Oakland's lone representative. Isn't that amazing? You ever think last year when Brent Rooker was stinking it up for the Royals, that guy would be an all-star? How about that? But they require every team to have one. So I guess that means something. Luis Robert is the White Sox, I believe, lone contributor this year. That is correct. Austin Hayes from Baltimore, Yordan Alvarez, and Adolis Garcia. That is the rest of your outfield core for the American League. Your pitchers in the AL. You've got, how many starters here? 9 starters, I believe. Shohei Ohtani, who is also there as a designated hitter. Does he have to get voted in twice?
I don't know how that works.
It's a brand new world. Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo from Seattle, Sonny Gray from the Twins, Nathan Eovaldi from the Rangers, Kevin Gausman from Toronto, shares an alma mater with Dan. Shane McClanahan from Tampa Bay. He is probably not going to pitch, I would assume.
Yeah, he just went on the injured list. That back injury that he had flare up against the Royals
Yeah.
last weekend has kept him off the mound. And yeah, he's going on the injured list. So that I would assume he will not pitch.
Framber Valdez from Houston and Michael Lorenzen, the only Tiger to make the All-Star team.
That one blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
Got to put someone in.
And he's got a 1.17 whip. Don't ask what his ERA is. His whip is a respectable 1.17. Don't ask for his wins-loss record either. That's not necessary. 1.17 whip.
It's not great.
It's not a bad whip.
Relievers, Kenley Jansen from Boston. Emmanuel Clase from Cleveland. Clase, I believe it was last night, had a juris familia when you blow a game that has such a big lead that you can't get a blown save.
Yeah.
Two Orioles also got the nod in the bullpen, Felix Bautista and Yenier Cano. Speaking of injured players, Aaron Judge also probably not going to play in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I think that's probably definitely not going to play in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to be a lot of injury replacements.
Always
so,
are.
Yeah.
National League notable names for you. A bunch of Braves got in.
8 Braves.
Yeah,
in total.
that is a lot, including in the reserve corps, Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, and Austin Riley. Starting from Atlanta, catcher Sean Murphy, as well as shortstop Orlando Arcia and outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. 3 Chicago Cubs made it in. 2 pitchers, Marcus Stroman and Justin Steele, as well as former Brave Dansby Swanson. Pete Alonso, he made the All-Star team again. He also announced he is competing in this year's Home Run Derby.
Yes.
Which is good. He should be in it every single year.
Yes. He's awesome at it, and he cares a lot about being awesome at it, which is a lot of fun.
Nick Castellanos, he made it. So pray for everyone because they're going to need it with Nick Castellanos in the All-Star game. Former Royal Jorge Soler. Wow, a real former Royals-filled All-Star game this year.
Yes.
Juan Soto from the Padres. Is he the only Padre? No, Josh Hader.
Yeah, Josh Hader also made it.
Wow, that is kind of crazy. Other notable pitchers from the National League, Zach Gallen from Arizona, Spencer Strider from Atlanta, who's been awesome. I would imagine Strider and Kershaw will be the 2 who are in the running to start for the NL. At least the MLB Twitter account tweeted that those are the 2 that could be the starter for the NL today. Relievers include notably Josh Hader and Devin Williams from Milwaukee, among others. Shohei Ohtani should probably start for the American League, I would guess.
That would be fun. That'd be the fun thing to do. Let him pitch the first inning.
Yeah.
I don't know when his time in the rotation is, what his last schedule start before the break is.
That's true.
That always does make an impact. Very disrespectful to not mention the Colorado Rockies lone all-star, Elias Diaz, making his first all-star appearance.
Yeah.
The first time in the 31-year history of the Colorado Rockies that they have had a catcher make the all-star game.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yes, all their catchers have been quite bad.
Is he deserving?
Yeah, he's had a nice year.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I thought it might be Ryan McMahon, but no, they took a bunch of other infielders instead, which I can't really argue with, and they took Elias Diaz. Both leagues got 3 catchers, so yeah, Diaz made as much sense as anybody.
Yeah, that's
for
good.
that pile of garbage of a team.
Also very funny, the Mets only got 1 All-Star.
Yes.
The Mets and Padres getting a combined 3 is very funny.
It is.
I find that to be a riot. Any snubs that stand out to you?
I guess not.
They'll probably get in because
anybody who's been snubbed from the All-Star game is going to get in through the back door. So, yeah, I don't.
That seems pretty solid to me.
Happy for Salvi. That makes as much sense as any other Royal. I know there were some people that thought it might be a Aroldis Chapman, but come on, you want to put a setup man that's been there a bunch of times that everybody knows is going to get traded as your team's All-Star representative. That never made sense for me. I always kind of thought it was going to be Salvi, and I'm happy that it's Salvi.
Yeah,
that's
me
fun.
too.
I know he's been in a bit of a funk offensively that had the eye operation and eye procedure, but here's hoping we get to see Salvi play.
Good for him
in the Midsummer Classic.
That is always the worst part of the All-Star game is this guy actually going to play? And then if they don't, I always feel very bad. Like, yeah, you get to go hang out in Seattle and it's always very lax and whatever, but man, you go and then the camera's on you for the last 3 innings and you don't get in the game. That would suck.
Yeah.
He'll get in. I assume all the catchers will get 3 innings each.
Yeah, here's a bit of a hot take about the All-Star game.
Okay.
I think it would be better if the players that the fans voted on finished the game. Let them play the last 5
Okay.
innings because that's when the game is decided.
Yeah.
And I want to see, personally, the All-Star game decided by Ronald Acuna Jr. or by Shohei Ohtani or by Randy Arozarena. And I do not want to see the All-Star game decided by Elias Diaz or Lourdes Gurriel Jr. or Brent Rooker. Like, I don't.
That's fair.
I don't want to see those guys in the 8th inning in a 1-run game. Like, no.
4-3, 2 outs, 9th inning, runner on second. Here comes Brent Rooker.
Right. Like, that's not what anybody wants.
No.
Like, I think either the starters should play longer, 6-7 innings, and we shouldn't worry about guys who, like, you get introduced, you're an all-star officially, but you don't get to play. Like, I'm okay with guys not getting to play. But I understand also that there is a compulsion from the managers to get everybody in.
Yeah.
So I get it. Just like Ted Williams did an extra innings home run to win an all-star game once because he played the entire game.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's who you want to see in the All-Star game. It's a different game now. It's a different era. I know. But I think it'd be fun to see, like, the reverse. You're not voting for the starters. You're voting for the closers. You're voting for the guys who are going to decide the game in the late innings.
I think they should have smaller all-star rosters, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I like honoring a lot of guys, but we definitely don't need, I guess, you got to have, like, emergency pitchers. I guess. Well, they got 13 pitchers. That's is that right? 13?
I think so.
12 for the National League. 12 for the American League plus Ohtani. So both teams get 12. Everybody gets an inning.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 guys who don't. But then those guys end up coming in anyway. It slows the game down.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
2 outs in the 8th inning, bases empty, make a pitching change. Yeah.
Texture from 785 points out lots of guys have what do you call it? Incentives in their contracts that help them out.
That's
make
true.
The All-Star game. Well, if they don't make it a smaller roster, then they got to play better, right?
I suppose that's true.
So, all right. First headline for me in our 5A Sports Talk headlines. Let's go to the NBA because a lot of things have been happening in the NBA. Free agency, of course, opened on Friday. Lots of deals have been done. I am not going to walk you all hand in hand through every last signing. Although, hey, shout out to your Bulls signing Torrey Craig. He's a good player and you'll like him.
Yeah, it's fine.
And
I've been told that he is an easy guy to root for.
He is.
That's nice. I'm sure I will have a lot of fun cheering on a transition block out of bounds in the final minute of a game that we are losing by 15 points to fall to like 30 and 42 on the year.
Torrey Craig blew a wide open transition layup with like 6 seconds to go in game 7 of the first round playoff series in the bubble with the Nuggets leading by 1 against the Jazz. And it gave the Jazz a chance to go down. And yeah. Oh my God. If Torrey Craig if they'd lost that game because Craig missed that layup, oh my God. Anyway, the biggest bit of NBA news that happened today is Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves agreeing on a 5-year designated rookie maximum contract. You have to have like an advanced degree in economics to understand the NBA salary cap and
it's
all
absurd.
of the ways you can manipulate it and all the exceptions and things like that. But anyway, Edwards' deal could become worth $260 million. I know everybody wants to talk about the Suns and all of the extremely mid rotation guys that everybody wants to pat them on the back for adding. I didn't know you could sign players. You have 4 guys on max deals. Everybody wants to talk about the Suns. Everybody's going to want to talk about LeBron. Everybody want to talk about the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George, even though limbs are falling off their body. I am telling you right now as a Denver Nuggets fan, I think the team that played the Nuggets the best in the postseason, and I think is the biggest threat to the Nuggets if they stay healthy, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm calling my shot right now. That's a team built by the former general manager of the Denver Nuggets, Tim Connolly. And I think he built it with an understanding that the Nuggets run was coming. And he had to figure out how to put together a team that could beat them. And I think they're close.
I think I
don't think
superstar.
They're there, but I think they're really good. And Ant-Man is awesome. He's so good, man. He's so good.
I think, Jaden McDaniels is a good player. I like him. I think he's only going to get better. Gobert is what he is. Karl Anthony Towns is what he is. I feel like you have to get off of one of those 2 dudes. Like, in theory, playing with two bigs, one of whom loves to shoot three-pointers and is at least decent at it, makes some amount of sense, especially when one plays defense and one just refuses to. But I don't know. I'm not a big Karl Anthony Towns fan. I just don't love his game.
If they could trade him, there have been some people floated the idea, trade him for Dame Lillard. Get Dame Lillard in Minnesota.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That team would shoot, like, Ant and Lillard would never pass the ball to anyone else but each other, which I'd be okay with.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, Rudy Gobert doesn't need the ball.
No, that's fine.
You know how anybody else on the team needs the ball? You get two creators, guys who can score. Yeah, I think Minnesota's really good. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be the second best team in the West next year, but that's the team I think that plays the Nuggets the best, matches up with them the best on paper of any team in the Western Conference right now. I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, they play fun basketball. They're really fun. And Anthony Edwards is awesome. He has said some dumb things off the court, but he generally is very easy to root for on the court.
He's great in that Adam Sandler movie.
I never actually saw it.
It's really good.
It wasn't
Hustle?
Yeah, Hernan Gomez.
Juancho,
yeah, he was the star of it.
Juancho's the main character, yeah.
So weird.
Nah, really good movie on Netflix. Really good.
The other biggest story from the NBA world from over the weekend, it is official. Damian Lillard does indeed want a trade from Portland. Did one of his best friends a solid on his way out. He convinced Portland to sign Jeremy Grant to a $160 million contract.
Well, the ink, there's no ink on it. There's not even ink to dry. There's no ink on it. You can't officially sign anything until the 6th.
Oh.
So
maybe.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a very difficult phone call to Jeremy Grant.
Hey, Jeremy, you know that contract we said we would give you? He wants to leave. And reportedly, he wants to go to Miami. He has apparently tons of respect for Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra, loves the Heat culture. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, if you've ever listened to Damian Lillard talk ever about anything basketball, the fact that he's a big Heat culture guy makes all the sense in the world. And apparently he's tight with Bam Adebayo, which is weird, but okay. And he really wants to go to Miami. Portland, according to multiple reports, has pretty much said, here's where you're going to go. Siberia, buddy. They are apparently not willing to just cave to whatever Dame wants.
Well, there's no reason to, because the Heat don't have enough. They don't have enough assets. They don't have enough, like, tradable contracts to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have enough draft picks. There's nothing that the Blazers are going to get that's fair value for Damian Lillard. So if they took, like, Tyler Herro and 2 first-round picks and some, like, future swaps for
their fans should burn the
Damian Lillard. Yeah, you're basically at that point doing Damian Lillard a favor. Which why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're not obligated to do Damian Lillard a favor if he doesn't want to play for your team anymore.
No, not at all. So I would love to see that. I think that'd be a lot of fun if you could make that work in Miami. But Miami would want to do that, not having to give up Bam Adebayo. I don't really know that that's possible. They don't have a lot of, like, super young players or draft picks or anything. They just don't have that. Brooklyn does. He apparently doesn't really want to go to Brooklyn. Portland has the leverage here because they say, all right, you want to leave? Fine. We're going to send you wherever we want. Enjoy the Shanghai Sharks. Like, we're going to go where we can get the best possible option for you, which is interesting because so many times in recent years when players have requested trades, they've gotten to go where they wanted to go. KD wanted to go to the Suns. KD went to the Suns.
Because the Suns had return that made sense for Brooklyn. Miami doesn't have enough to send back. They are obviously trying to do something big. They moved out, like, they let Gabe Vincent walk in free agency. They traded Max Strus. Those were 2 guys played a lot of minutes for them at the guard spots. Started in the NBA Finals for them. They've got a vacancy at guard. They are trying to make this happen. I just don't think they can put together a trade package that makes the Blazers happy unless they get a third team involved.
Yeah, so best of luck to Damian Lillard getting to go where he wants. That will end up being like an 8-team trade if he ends up in Miami. Brooklyn will get involved. San Antonio is going to be involved. 8 teams are going to be involved if he somehow makes it to Miami.
Let's route back to baseball as we keeping on with our 5A Sports Talk headlines for this Monday. You mentioned earlier Pete Alonso. He's going to be in the Home Run Derby this coming year. In fact, we now know 6 of the 8 participants for the upcoming Home Run Derby. That'll be a week from tonight at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Adley Rutschman, the Baltimore Orioles catcher, the latest today to announce that he will be joining the Home Run Derby field. He joins from the American League so far Tampa Bay's Randy Arozarena, Seattle's Julio Rodriguez, and Toronto's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The aforementioned Pete Alonso and the Dodgers' Mookie Betts are in the field from the National League. I don't know if it has to be 4 and 4 for National League, for American League. I think it maybe used to have to be that. I don't think it does anymore. But there are 2 more participants still to be announced for the Home Run Derby. And that's kind of cool. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez didn't make the game this year, but he's going to do it because he was a runner-up last year to Alonso, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And these other guys, they hit the ball a long way. I mean, Vlad Guerrero hits the ball a long way. Mookie Betts is fun to watch. Randy Arozarena is super fun to watch.
Yeah.
So when my wife and I and my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, we went to that Tampa Bay Rays game when we were on vacation. We went to Tropicana Field, and we ended up with seats right on the fence in left field where Arozarena plays. And people love Randy in Tampa Bay. They absolutely love the guy, and it's understandable because he's super fun to watch. And he loves the people right back. Like between pitches, between batters, during pitching changes, people will yell out to him, "Hey, Randy!" And they'll wave at him, and he will wave back, or he'll give you a thumbs up. And my wife thought that was the most charming thing and absolutely loved that. And the other day, out of the blue, unbidden, asked me, "How's my friend Randy doing?" So
that's awesome.
Now I'm going to go to watch Home Run Derby because I'm going to say, "Hey, your friend Randy's in the Home Run Derby."
That's awesome. No, I mean, he is one of the, I would say right now, he's probably one of my 5 favorite players to watch in baseball.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's my friend too.
That's what baseball needs, is guys like that.
Yes.
That's awesome. You get to pick the final 2. Who are they going to be?
If I got to pick,
yeah.
Ooh, I love that question. If I got to pick, man, I'd make Ohtani do it for sure.
Yeah.
And
he did he do it last year or 2 years ago?
He did it when it was at Coors Field in 2021.
Okay.
I don't believe he participated last year.
All right.
So I'd make Ohtani do it, and I'd get one of the Braves to do it. Olsen, or my preference would be Ronald Acuna Jr. Nobody hits cooler home runs than Ronald Acuna Jr. He's already done it too in the past. So, some guys, they do it and they have fun with it, but they don't want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay, maybe you don't want to keep doing it every year, but if I had the power and I could make people do it, it would be Ohtani and Acuna.
I think I might pick Tatis. I don't like Fernando Tatis, but he crushes the baseball. And he's hit really well since he came back from his suspension this year. I would say Ohtani and Tatis would be my 2 picks. Final headline for me today on our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Big news for the Kansas Jayhawks football team over the weekend, landing a commitment from 3-star defensive end Deshaun Warner out of Arizona. He is, I would argue, one of their most important commitments of the year. We talked about him a bunch over the last couple of weeks with Michael Swain, who, by the way, is going to join us on Thursday this week. No show tomorrow because of the 4th of July. He is also on vacation currently. He's down in Mexico, as he told us. But we talked a lot about Deshaun Warner, how big his visit was, how big a potential commitment from him would be from KU or for KU. He's one of the highest ranked recruits in this class for Kansas. KU desperately needed some more help on the defensive line, specifically on the edge. They wanted to take 2 in this class, and they end up landing Deshaun Warner from Desert Edge High School in Arizona. He is now one of the 5 highest ranked players in a top 40 class for KU this year. Top 700 nationally, one of the top 45 edge rushers in the country. What a class for KU this year on the football recruiting trail. Any other headlines for you today?
No, that's a good place to end it.
With that, let's wrap up those 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll talk a little Kansas State basketball up next. And is Jerome Tang's group inching closer to hauling in one of those West Virginia transfers? We'll break it down next on 580 Sports Talk. 533 on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski and Dan Lucero here with you. We've got some 580 Sports Talk overtime coming up at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Fulton Caster spoke to David Lesky from Inside the Crown earlier today on Mic'd Up. We'll hear that interview as we get you ready for Royals baseball tonight and their series opener with the Minnesota Twins. We'll preview that game as well coming up here in just a few minutes. First, though, some notes from Kansas State. So the other day, Jerome Tang put out the cat signal on Twitter. Every team does. Almost every coach, coaching staff, team, football, basketball, they all have some sort of image they tweet out that's sick, or GIF that tweets, or
emoji, catchphrase, to say that they've got a commitment without saying that they've got a commitment, so that they still let whoever it is have the opportunity to announce their commitment.
And Jerome Tang sends that out. The rest of the basketball staff's tweeting about it. And logically, you would think it was either going to be Muhammad Waggy, Muhammad Waggy from West Virginia, who just visited K-State, or Joe Toussaint from West Virginia, who just visited K-State. So digging into it a little bit, because that's what we do, it looked like Waggy was the pick. Like, that is who had committed to K-State. That's where the rumors were all trending. You were diving into the message boards. That's what they seemed to think. But then it was announced that, he was going to go visit Tuscaloosa. He had a visit to Alabama, and he was going to take it. And suddenly there was some fear that, oh, boy, did they pull the trigger a little bit too soon? And I had a whole thing set up here about, well, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Waggy? Would you rather have Toussaint? Does K-State need either of these? How likely is it that they could get both? And then this afternoon, Joe Tipton from On3, who has become a straight-up recruiting reporter. He's the guy who makes the Photoshops. Like, he makes really corny Photoshops for high school players and transfers that, like, hey, tell me where you're going. I'll make you this sweet graphic that are not actually any sweet. But he tweeted out just after 4 o'clock that Alabama is no longer in consideration for West Virginia transfer Joe Toussaint, who you might remember from last week was going to visit K-State. He had interest in Texas Tech. He was going to visit Alabama. Well, that's one school off the board for Joe Toussaint. Shortly after he visited Kansas State and after he visited Texas Tech. So I don't know that it's for sure going to be K-State, but it sure feels like it's going to be one of those Big 12 schools if he's canceling this Alabama visit. And I think either one would be happy to get him. But if, again, as we laid out last week, it ends up being K-State, that perfectly fits the orchestrator of the second unit role that they're looking for, or theoretically could be looking for.
Yeah, and I think that you get even just one of these players, I think you can call it pretty good. But if they could somehow manage to pull them both off, you'd have to really tip the cap to Jerome Tang and his staff for being able to address every single one of their needs. Because if Waggy ends up going to Alabama, which sort of feels like that's where that's trending, very, very possible, very almost probable at this point that that's what happens there. I think that Kansas State will still go into this coming year without that experienced big man that they could have really used. Now, maybe there's still one out there. Maybe there's a junior college transfer they could take late in the game, late in the recruiting stage. But to have like an experienced guy, especially a Big 12 experienced guy, an opportunity to get one of those, that'd be a big, big deal. And if they miss out on Waggy, then they have missed an opportunity to do that. But if they add Toussaint, then they've done exactly what Jerome Tang said he wanted to do. He wanted to get two guards who played a lot of college basketball. Tyler Perry is one.
Yeah.
They're still looking for another. Toussaint absolutely fits the bill.
It does seem like Toussaint's announcement is coming soon.
He did just tweet about an hour ago that he is not coming back to West Virginia, which we kind of all assumed, like you were taking visits. Like,
yeah, I didn't know that was still on the table. That's what Hunter Dickinson did too after he entered the portal. He announced he was not going back to Michigan, I think the day before or the morning before he announced his KU commitment. So I guess that's the new thing, is leave it open and make it seem like maybe you'll go back. But I didn't really ever think that was certainly going to happen. No, I think K-State is still in a good spot here. And I think it is still possible that they end up landing both. And if you ended up landing both of those guys, two dudes with major college basketball experience, who have played a lot of games, who have been at the Big 12 level, you're going to be feeling pretty good. But if you land even one of them, you're feeling fine. I don't think I would say that they need to get one, but you feel a lot more comfortable. Like if you're looking at a Toussaint, just as a hypothetical, you bring in Joe Toussaint and you say, hey, Joe, your role is sixth man. Like you are going to be the backup point guard. Perry is going to handle most of the ball handling duties, or it's going to be a timeshare, whatever. But you are going to be the lead piece of that second group. And in certain situations, if that original starting five is not working out, there might be starter minutes available to him, because I do believe he started at least a few games at West Virginia and certainly did at Iowa, if I'm remembering correctly. And I'll pull that up quickly just to make sure. But yeah, I mean, he started his last year at Iowa 21 times. His freshman year at Iowa, he started 20 games. Like, he's got plenty of starting experience. You can move that guy into the starting lineup. So if nothing else, it gives you really good flexibility, which I think this staff would really like to have. Last year, they had flexibility that was almost a necessity because they had injury. You know, Gassan was out for a while. So Tomlin had the ability to move to the five. You were able to mix things up at the guard spots a little bit when guys got banged up. Ish Massoud being out of the rotation early in the season, then working his way back in, having guys who can play multiple spots, that aided going through that situation. I think it's nicer, though, to be able to have that flexibility as a luxury as opposed to a necessity. And I feel like that's what Toussaint adds. I believe I said this last week. I would rather have Toussaint than Waggy in the first place. I'd be happy with either one if I was K-State.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if this is trending the way it appears to be trending, I think K-State's going to be very happy. And I think it'll put K-State in a spot where they don't have to get rid of that 13th scholarship either. I think Jerome Tang will say, look, if we find someone, great. If not, we'll have another free one next year. We're fine with the 12 we have. And that's a fine spot to be in.
Yeah. Toussaint gives them what they had effectively last year, which is 3 starting guards. I think that's the spot where they want to be, where you have the guys who actually start, and then your third guy who comes in and plays a lot, who is essentially like a starter. Perry, Carter, and Toussaint would give them that without, again, having to lean too heavily on freshmen. Might allow them to redshirt Ames or Jones. Certainly might give them the opportunity to redshirt Caleb Rich, who's more of a small forward, maybe even a power forward, but still, you don't have to go that deep in your rotation. If you are able to bring in one more veteran guard, and because they're not shy about playing with 3 guards, they may roll some 3 guard lineups out there with those guys. So I like the fit. I think the player can really help them. He's not quite Desi Sills,
no,
but I think that the impact of having that experienced hand at the guard spot to complement your point guard and also complement the minutes at the 2 would be a major addition. Would really help them a lot and give them a better chance to contend for a Big 12 championship, which now that's the bar, right?
Yeah.
Like the bar at Kansas State after last year, even though, I mean, they didn't win the Big 12 championship last year, but they were in the race throughout the season, and then they went to the Elite Eight. So now that's where the bar is. That's what this staff sets out to try and accomplish on a year in, year out basis. They want to trade punches with Kansas and Baylor at the top of the Big 12. That is the bar. And if that's going to be the bar, then you need depth. You need veteran depth. And if you're going to acquire that veteran depth, you need to be able to work the transfer portal. And I think this staff has shown they're quite adept.
I would like to give major props to the transfer portal and to specifically how K-State's coaching staff works the portal, because it is July 3rd and we're talking about college basketball. I appreciate them a great deal for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've done us. They have done the hardest workers in America, the sports talk radio hosts and podcasters, a really big solid. So thank you for that, Kansas State. Let's get to a break. We'll preview tonight's series opener between the Royals and Twins after this right here on 580 Sports Talk. up 580 Sports Talk. Again, Royals baseball coming up tonight. Pregame at 6:30, first pitch at 7:10 on the Royals Radio Network, right here on 580 WIBW, the sports voice of Kansas. It'll be Austin Cox on the hill today for the Royals. Joe Ryan dealing for the Twins. I know Austin Cox wasn't great his first start of the year, but I still think he can be a viable starter, and thus I have a vested emotional interest in him pitching much better tonight.
So the question as it comes to Austin Cox after his first start was that a matter of fatigue and not being stressed out or stretched out and not being able to handle maybe the stress of seeing a lineup the second time through because his stamina, his conditioning wasn't up to par.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't stretched out enough. Or is he just one of those pitchers who's better when he only gets to see a guy once and maybe isn't great seeing a lineup more than one time through? That's an open question. And he has pitched well enough in the minors and pitched well enough in relief that, as you said, it is worth finding out which one it is. If, he just needed to be stretched out, or, maybe he's just better off only seeing guys once in a short relief or, 2 inning at a time relief role. Some guys are that, but you got to find out. And credit to the Royals is they are going to find out one way or another with Austin Cox, it seems like.
Are you surprised to know that they are the biggest underdogs of the day in Major League Baseball?
Am I surprised?
Yeah.
I would assume that means the A's are not playing.
The A's are not playing. Fairly skimpy schedule today.
Which is weird for July 3rd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very weird. The Cubs already lost. That sucked. The Reds and Nats are playing right now. Cardinals, Marlins, also that game just started top of the first. Orioles, Yankees, Braves, Guardians. I mean, there's no real terrible team playing today, but by far the biggest dog of the day is the Royals, plus 194 over at FanDuel. Twins are minus 235. To win $100, you'd have to bet 235 for those still not into the gambling game. The Angels, they are your second biggest underdog of the day, plus 168. I have not bet a ton on baseball lately because I had a real bad stretch there, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna ease up a little bit
Back
till
off
we
a little
get
bit.
to till we got to the CFL season, but then till we get to American football again. 1-1 this weekend. I bet against the Royals twice. That worked out really well on Friday, not nearly as well yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought, they're not winning 2 in a row against this Dodgers team. There's no way. And then, they did.
What do you know?
So good for the Royals in that regard. By the way, the total for today's game, 8.5.
Seems high. I'll tell you, Joe Ryan has had the Royals number historically.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he has absolutely dominated the Royals. I'm pulling up the baseball reference numbers. All time against the Royals, Joe Ryan, well, it's not going to show me all time on the window I'm at, but his last 5 starts, he's won them all.
Oh.
And his last 2 starts against the Royals were 7 no-hit innings with 9 strikeouts, September 13th of last year. And then April 2nd of this year, 6 1-run, 3-hit innings with 6 strikeouts.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's decent, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to find his career numbers. But yeah, Joe Ryan.
I've actually got him right here for you.
Sonny Gray as well.
Yeah.
They got a lot of Royal killers on that Twins pitching staff.
He's actually only started against the Royals 5 times.
Oh, that's the sum total of the career? Okay.
Yeah, he's 5-0 with an ERA of 1.2.
That ain't good.
And he allows a whip of 0.83. Yeah, he's been pretty dang dominant against the Royals. And this season, outside of facing the Royals, he has actually also been really good. So at least the underlying numbers indicate he has been very good over the course of the season.
Yeah, how about a 155? The Royals are hitting 155 against Joe Ryan all time. 16 for 103.
Ew.
2 of those hits have been home runs.
I mean, that's nice. That's positive.
Got that going for him. Man, Baseball Reference even gives you numbers by umpire now. That's wild.
Yeah. Oh, they've got everything. They got manager stats. They got ump stats. Pro Football Reference has ref stats. It's great.
It's the best website in the world.
Yeah, it really is.
It has supplanted Twitter as the best website in the world.
I'm trying to think of websites not including like Google Drive and Twitter are the websites I go to the most, but I use them for work every single day. I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to think of what I use more than any other site. And the sports reference sites, I think, are number one. I'm on them all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes just for fun.
Yeah. Go on there and just do some light guy remembering.
By the way, before we get to our final break of the show, can I complain about something real quick?
Yes, of course.
The Minnesota Twins alternate logo is garbage.
You talking about the M with the star?
About being the Minnesota Marlins? Yeah.
It does kind of look like the Marlins hat, doesn't it?
It sucks. It is so bad. Their uniforms look like the Marlins. Which, why would you want to recreate that, for one? I know they're better this year.
They had a perfectly good, just do the TC. Just wear the TC Twin Cities caps. Those are great.
Entirely fine.
I like the lowercase M with the little underline is kind of cartoonish, kind of silly.
Very cartoonish.
I don't love that, but man, stick with the TC. They didn't need like a block M.
No, they don't. I don't know. I'm not super militant about logos and stuff, but I also think that they change way too often. I know it's all just a money grab. It's all just an attempt to get people to buy new jerseys and stuff, but I hate it. And it sucks. I hate it so much. Put the Twins, put the Minneapolis and St. Paul Twins shaking hands over the river on the hat. You know what I'm talking about?
The Win Twins guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, put those on things. More of that.
Twins come in a virtual tie for first place in the American League Central, 42-43.
Gross.
Really bad.
Yeah, this division sucks.
The Comedy Central.
It's so bad, man. It's amazing. Do you think it is because of the new schedule that we have so many teams that are just mediocre in baseball?
Well, you have to play. You don't get to fatten up on your own division.
Uh-huh.
You have to play everybody.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that might be part of it. I mean, it's the first year of the balanced-ish schedule, so it's hard to say definitively, but that could be. That could be part of it.
I guess by the same token, if you're the American League East and at one point you were all above 500 by multiple games.
Yes, Boston would have a 1-game lead in the American League Central.
They're still above 500?
Yes, they're 43-42.
Oh, my
Yes,
God.
so when you look at the standings, they're in order. You read the East and then you read the Central, and they're in order. Boston.
I can't believe that's still happening. That's like,
It is.
okay, second week of April, sure. First weekend of July? Come on.
Boston's 13 out of first. And nobody thinks Boston's good. Like,
No.
don't get me wrong. Like, nobody thinks that team's any good. But Boston is 13 games behind Tampa Bay. They're 3 games out of a wild card spot. They would be a game clear of Minnesota in the Central. A full game.
That is unbelievable. Goodness gracious. Royals baseball coming up tonight. First pitch at 7:10. We've got some overtime at 6 o'clock that will take you into pregame coverage tonight. But before we get there, we're going to wrap up 580 Sports Talk with the final word after this.
Kids playing in a lawn spring.
couple of days because we are off tomorrow for the 4th of July. I hope you are as well, and I hope you have a very safe 4th of July. Do not blow up any of your hands, fingers, other phalanges. Get back to 580 Sports Talk on Wednesday in one piece, please. With that, Dan, final word.
This is my final word for every 4th of July, and it's along those same lines. Be safe. Take good care of yourselves and other people. I know that the fireworks are a much bigger deal here where they're legal than they were where I grew up, where they are not on the 4th of July. So it was always a bit of a culture shock for me on 4th of July when I first moved out to Kansas. But people have a great time with them. I just ask that you be safe and be considerate of the people around you. Be considerate of your neighbors. Maybe some of them might be military veterans dealing with some PTSD. Maybe some of them have dogs and cats who are terrified, or other animals that might be terrified by the loud thunder booms. Just be considerate and, keep it to reasonable hours. And everybody has a good 4th of July.
Yes, please, again, be safe, be considerate. You can have fun without doing something dangerous or rude. And I hope that is what we all get to do coming up either tonight or tomorrow, whenever you are going to see fireworks, whenever you're going to celebrate our American Independence Day. Final thought for me, go to Twitter. Look up Sports on 580. That is our handle. Twitter might not work by tomorrow morning. By the time we're on the air next, it might not work at all. So go vote in our poll right now. Who had the best America draft, me or Dan? That's on our Twitter handle at Sports on 580. That does it for us. We are off tomorrow for the 4th of July. We're back on Wednesday from 3 until 6. Until then, for Dan Lucero, I'm Brendan Dworzinski. Happy 4th of July. You've been listening to 580 Sports Talk.